Well, everybody, this was obviously a consequential week for House Republicans, but it was a very consequential week for the American people. And we've delivered once again. Americans demand a few things that are common sense. They demand secure elections. They want a strong national defense capable of countering our adversaries. They want a Congress that plays by the same rules that they do. These are not big things to ask. House Republicans delivered on all those promises and those priorities this week and then some. By way of reminder, this is what we did this week. The House Republicans passed the Clean CR to keep the government funded responsibly, the Stop Insider Trading Act that bans lawmakers from trading and buying individual stocks and from abusing their office for financial gain, the NDAA to provide a much-needed pay raise for our troops and to rebuild the arsenal of freedom, and the budget resolution that unlocks our third reconciliation bill, which, of course, is Republicans' best shot to get as much of the Save America Act into law as possible, in addition to funding our national defense and our farmers. Republicans support our troops, our farmers, and election security. And we're the only team in Washington that does. Many of you doubted our success. Many of you standing around me in the Skaggle right now said, let me read you a sample of the headlines. Quote, House Republicans face final week gauntlet. Another said, Johnson's rocky sprint to recess. Another said it was Johnson's make-or-break week. Despite nearly every Democrat voting against everything I just read you, House Republicans delivered. Now, many of you like to say that major legislating can't happen in an election year. We just proved you wrong. This week we continue to deliver for the people, and we're going to continue that streak all the way through the end of this year and into the next Congress. We're increasingly confident that we will hold and grow this majority in the House. We must, because you're seeing a demonstration of the two sides, the divergent views for America. We had been saying that this was an election that was shaping up as a contest between common sense and crazy. And now it is literally, in many sectors around the country, common sense versus communism. We have done our job. We'll continue to do it. Tomorrow, House Republicans will return to their districts armed with a proven track record of success and in these new legislative victories. Democrats, on the other hand, have to go home. They have to answer for quite a bit. They have to answer for why they voted against funding our troops, against funding the government, against common sense policies like voter ID and proof of citizenship, and against a popular ban on members of Congress purchasing individual stocks. We have 3.5 months to go until this election. We are going to run through the tape. We're going to continue to demonstrate here every day as we did this week. The Republicans are on the side of the American people, on the side of common sense, on the side of America. The Democrats simply are not. That's the sad reality of where we are, and everybody gets to make a choice in the upcoming election. We're very much looking forward to that. Thank you.
There are a lot of people in America who feel that the Democratic Party is out of touch. We can't be honest about what's going on, with immigration. We don't have a plan for immigration. We're not able to say what actually Democrats should do to fix the problem. All we are is opposition to Trump. Under Biden, we said inflation is not really a big deal. It's transitory. It's going to go away. And then the whole party said, hey, don't worry. Everything's great. Joe is awesome. He can run for re-election. So the point is we have this history of kind of just like washing over problems and not addressing real concerns that voters have. We got to make sure we don't do that in Arizona.
Okay, but we've got to make sure. Do you think you're doing that now? Because look no further than a state just north of you, Maine, where I kind of feel like that happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that's honest. I mean, to be honest, it's a problem. It's still a problem.
Finally, we have to pass the Save America Act to defend American elections. And I have to say, Mike Johnson and Congress have done a great job, but we're having a hard time in the Senate. The Senate, what they're doing is it's just not right. Congress is going to pass it again. They passed it 3 times. They're going to pass it again. It's like the Senate is a place that you send things when you want them to die. We can't do this, and we're not going to take this any longer. We're not going to take it. I'm trying to be nice. Trying to be really nice. You saw we had a big victory last night in Arizona. I've had victories everywhere, but we're not going to be able to take it much longer when they can't get past voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots because they're crooked as hell.
He's telegraphing. He's telling us all exactly what to look forward to. And in looking forward to what he has planned, excuse me, you're going to have to ignore a ton of noise. Moving forward, as we hit the August 1st calendar turn, you are going to be inundated. I mean, absolutely deluged with people trying to tell you a poll says this, MAGA is dead, the Democrats are going to win this. It's all going to be the same thing, all meant to demoralize people who follow and support President Trump. And the easy contrast to anything they say is, so what do you think the socialists would do? And he knows that. Hopefully you guys know that. But I saw some poll. I didn't even want to show it today. I saw a poll today that they did on CNN and how the immigration numbers have completely flipped and everybody now supports what the Democrats could do a better job in immigration. Really? Seriously? The Democrats could do a better job in immigration. Here's a hint. They wouldn't do anything against illegal immigration. So how can that poll be correct? It's impossible to be correct because they wouldn't be doing anything. They would let everybody in. So how could anybody actually look at the numbers that they put in that poll and say, yeah, the Democrats are up by 10 points on immigration? It's impossible. Then they went later in that same poll this morning. I don't know, maybe I did clear it. I don't know. Later in that poll, they said gas prices are up, and right now, the Democrats have an edge on the economy. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I actually posted and said, if you think the Democrats have a better handle on the economy, then you're either brain dead or broke. And you don't have a memory or a current sense of things going on. I don't know, maybe if they're so good at gas pricing, California wouldn't be paying $6 a gallon for gas. Call me stupid. Better? No, they wouldn't be better. They would turn off all the drilling spigots. They wouldn't even allow us to be drilling. They don't want you to drive. That's their gas policy. You shouldn't be driving. You should live in your pod, eat the bugs, and shut the hell up. And so when you see these polls, you've already heard what these socialists say. Just remember what they say and you'll be fine. You will be fine going into the midterms because you already know. They've told you. Every time they get on television, it's hurting them so bad. Now you got people like AOC and the other ones saying it's not really communism. That, the Republicans are just trying to strike fear. Well, your own people said it. We didn't make it up. And if you think that saying communism strikes fear, then ergo, you're telling us you're worried about people aligning you with communism, even though your own people have said it, even though Hassan Piker showed up at a rally dressed like Mao Zedong, then came out and further said that Mao Zedong was a great leader. You have to be very stupid to listen to the people who are trying to gaslight you moving forward. I prefer you unplug if you can't stand it and watch football the rest of the year because it is starting in earnest. And the biggest thing that you can take from all of this, the most major thing you can take from this is that the voter ID, the Save America Act, is overwhelmingly supported by people in both parties. We're talking an 85% issue, 85-15, 80-20. It is overwhelmingly popular. But for some reason, the people in our party can't get it done. So when President Trump said at that rally, and he said, my patience is wearing thin, understand where he may be going. He posted something on Truth Social this morning. I can't really show it to you other than to show you the picture because it's definitely a copyrighted video from HBO. He posted this, and it's a 3-minute video. I posted it on my Twitter profile. You can go take a look at it. He posted it without comment, not a word, just the video. And this video is of Muhammad Ali fighting George Foreman. Back in the day when the two of them were just amazing heavyweights. And George Foreman was the guy who was boxing, and it seemed like he had a sledgehammer for a hand. And if he caught you, he was going to knock you the F out. And the entire fight, what did Muhammad Ali do? Nobody understood what he was doing when he went like this. He protected his inside, left his elbows out, and just went like that, and he let George Foreman pound him. He let himself be pounded for 8 long rounds. I don't know how a human could put up with that kind of pounding. And then George Foreman got to the 9th round and had no gas left. They had nothing left. He had punched himself silly, but he didn't drop Muhammad Ali. That went on to be famously called the rope-a-dope, where he just sat against the rope and he let him pound him. And then when George Foreman lost all his energy, Muhammad Ali unleashed. He went absolutely berserk on this guy and beat the crap out of him. Knocked him the F out. To this day, decades later, people are like, I don't know how he survived 7 or 8 rounds of getting pounded. Getting pounded by the media, getting pounded by rhinos, getting pounded by podcasters, getting pounded by people who lost faith. And I just found it kind of odd that today he posted this as he's saying one way or the other, these people are going to be taken out. Some people may look at this as being Iran, but I don't look at it Iran because Iran wasn't banging us and hitting us for 8 rounds. Who's been hitting Trump for 8 rounds and he's just been taking it? That would be the media. That would be the panicans. That would be the podcasters. That would be everybody who thinks that they know more than he does. And he just telegraphed something that he's ready to get this rope-a-dope ended. And as he said in that piece I showed you, one way or the other, this is going to happen. And prior to that, you saw a Democrat, Seth Moulton. And Seth Moulton was talking, he's like, we got nothing. He admitted, we have nothing. All we have is hate Trump. That's what we all been telling everybody. I can't believe he went on television and was that honest. We got nothing. Nothing. And now we're basically going into the 9th round. And now it's time for President Trump to turn the tables, to stop with the rope-a-dope, stop playing nice, as he said. I'm done playing nice. I think you got to be done playing nice. You know, a lot of people send me emails and they sometimes say, Barry, you're being condescending, you're being rough on people, because I know what it's going to take for everybody to rebound and go for this and punch back harder, much harder. Give these people no quarter. Give these people no rest. Go full Nessun Dorma on them yourself. Stop trying to talk to them. Stop trying to be nice. I know as Christians sometimes we are bound by a certain doctrine that says we have to turn the other cheek and love everybody. But there's a certain time where you realize the people that you've tried to love, the people you've tried to hug, the people you've tried to communicate, don't want to hear what you have to say anymore. And at that point, there's another part in the Bible that says, well, hey, you tried. It's time to rebuke them. Which is hard because they may be your neighbors. They may be your coworkers. They may be your family. But the alternative is waking up in November of 2028, or rather January of 2029, and going, you got to be kidding me. We are so screwed. How could I have been so stupid to be worrying about higher gas prices? How stupid can I have been to be worrying about, I don't know, some grocery prices? How stupid could I have been to think that anything I'm going through personally matters more than what could happen to this country? I don't want you to wake up in November of 2026, and I definitely don't want you to wake up in November of 2028 going, oh my God, I made a mistake, because there is no alternative. Until you sit back and understand, they don't want you to pay higher gas prices. They don't want you to drive. They don't want you to pay or buy houses and get prosperous. So they don't care about interest rates. You got to live in the pod, eat the bugs. They don't want you to swear to the flag, allegiance. Nope, don't want you to do that. They hate it. They don't even want you wearing a MAGA hat. They definitely don't want you waving a flag. A flag is racist. So what the hell are we talking about here? Why are we worried about what polls say? We don't need polls anymore. This is an all-in game. This is everybody together. Where we go one, we go all. And if not, step off now. You're not ready for this. I can't take any more people bitching about all these different other people instead of realizing everybody right now is needed to go forward, because they are. I don't understand it. I don't want you coming out the locker room if you're not prepared to win. I don't want you stepping on the field if you don't have the entire team's best interest at heart. This guy, as he posted in this video, has been taking everything. You haven't. Nobody's tried, well, I don't know, but nobody's tried to kill you. There haven't been 10,000 assassination attempts on your life. Nobody has tried to assassinate your children, your grandchildren. Nobody has tried to destroy your business, other than the Democrats, on a daily basis. So I'm pretty sure at this point, we want him to go full nuclear. We want him to unleash, because this is what it's going to take. And I think he's tried to show all of us, you see what they're doing. Oh boy, it gets worse and worse. I just wonder, I've said it before, it concerns me, because I don't know if enough people are ready to do what it takes, are being convinced by other people talking just for clicks and likes that this is wrong and Trump did this wrong. And what the hell are we supposed to do with these people? Ignore them. They're appealing to your inner self. They understand the words coming out their mouth enrage you. They understand it will help turn you away from where Trump is. You know the people. One of them was a poster on his show. Every single post that he makes, not one, not two, every single post that he makes is negative about Trump and MAGA. And when I had him on this show, I asked him, so do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do you know the contrast? Why are these people not talking about the socialist? Why would you spend your time saying, oh, Trump's missed this and Trump did that, instead of saying, we better be ready because the socialists are coming? Think about that for a second. What do you want people around you to feel? Do you want them attacking other people or attacking the nuts? I know who I want them to attack. I know who I want to see go down, because I know what they have in store for us. That's the part that I just want to go to some of these people's channel and say, wake up. What's your alternative? And I'm not saying you got to take the lesser of two evils or be satisfied with mediocrity. I'm saying maybe Go run for office. Go run against Mitch McConnell's, corpse or whatever. Do something. I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to keep people upbeat and motivated. And I get called all kinds of names and everything else. And Barry, you're chasing prosperity and you're doing this. No, you know why? Do you know why? Because I know what the opposition has in mind for us. And I know what I want for Robin. I know what I want for Ashley. I know what I want for the grandkids. And it has nothing to do with what these socialists want. And so every day, even at my age, I get up, I turn this camera on, and I try to motivate the people around me to go, let's roll. Remember that's phrase when they took over the airplane in Pennsylvania and we heard the guy said, let's roll. Imagine yourself in that position. We're not there. We're sitting in cushy air conditioning somewhere. We got our feet up. We're watching news and podcasts and things. Now imagine you knew you were probably going to meet your death in about 20 minutes. You could have sat down and cried. You could have sat down and prayed, or you could have turned around and went, let's roll. I'm not going out like that. And I think too many people in our country, in our movement, are like, well, let someone else take care of it. Well, let somebody else. I don't know if I can do anything. Yeah, you don't think so? We've been beat on. We're going to continue to get beat on. And every assassination attempt or threat that President Trump gets is an affront to you. He has said it to you many times. He's just in the way. And if you believed it when he said it then, you need to believe it now and realize he's just in the way. They're coming for us. They're coming for our way of life, and not enough people are talking about it. They're bitching about Israel. Enough. It's hard enough to get motivated to come out here and try to motivate other people, but at the same time, it enthuses me because I know there are people who feel this way, who don't have the voice to tell other people, shut up. Just shut up and understand we're here to save the country. Yeah, we may have some warts and blemishes and pimples, but we'll deal with that later. Right now, that's our enemy. And their intent is to destroy us. So how are you going to respond? And we need to be telling this to the rhinos because we need the Save America Act, but I'm not really worried about it. The reason I'm not really worried about it, because he doesn't seem worried about it. He's telling everybody, don't do it. Do it. I'm done being nice until it's time not to be nice anymore, as Patrick Swayze said. So that's where we are. Just want to let you guys know programming. I'm going to talk about the Save America Act here in a second. And then I've got a great, if you haven't seen it, a fantastic interview with, not the whole interview, with Elon Musk. Elon Musk had an interview with The Economist magazine, and the twit that was interviewing was trying to gotcha, and he wasn't playing that. The entire interview, I believe, is 90 minutes long. I don't have the entire interview. We'd be here for hours, but I have some really good poignant clips from it, and so we'll get to that. And then at 3 o'clock, President Trump is coming on to talk about the nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia, so we'll cover that live when that comes on as well. So a whole bunch of content, back to a normal show today, not just the little snippets like we did yesterday. We're going to be here for quite some time. Glad you're here. Let me see with SV what you got. Anything?
Hey, happy Friday, bro.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
All right. I have a couple of topics you may want to bring up. I got 4 cuts so far.
All righty.
Very topics. Some fun stuff.
Which one you want me to go to?
Oh, I mean, you can go in order, cut 1 down to 4.
All right. You can skip. Let's go ahead and skip number 4. Because I have that lined up today.
Oh, okay. The crypt keeper.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
what do we got here?
All right. So let's check in with Tellerico and see what he's up to. Oh, well, look at this. He just endorsed a plan to force Texans into paying reparations to black people for slavery. he's going to force people to pay for it. Texans. That doesn't make sense. So Texas is red and will not put up with that BS. Time for Trump-backed Ken Paxton to crush him in November. So vote, please, folks. Vote. Don't let this madman in.
I just want to know how you're going to determine who gets the reparations. Can
I want something for being Italian, man. Can I get my reparation? Forget about it.
So understand the insanity of that. You're going to pay people who have never been slaves reparations for slavery, and you're going to charge people who never owned slaves to pay people who were never slaves.
Total insanity. I mean, did this guy think this through or what? Or is he, he just goes, hey, it sounds like a good idea. I'll snatch that one out of the board.
It sounds like a good idea because anything they can do to give people money.
Take, yeah. Steal our money.
That's all they care about.
Yes.
Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. What do you got here?
Let's see. I got to bring that. Hold on a second. Let me get that up on my screen too. It just zipped away. 1 second. One more. I'll tell you when it doesn't work well. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, yeah, President Trump immediately launches a 301 investigation after the European Union just got exposed for fining American tech companies billions of dollars. This has happened before, by the way.
Yeah.
President Trump says new tariffs may be on the way next. Good. The EU tyrants must stop discriminating against American companies. The penalties will be entirely reversed, and we anticipate a substantial tariff to be placed on them at the earliest possible moment. Stay tuned. He goes on to say the United States of America is not a piggy bank for Europe, nor will we allow it to be. Please let this truth serve to represent that we will immediately initiate a 301 investigation into the practice of robbing American companies and turn the American taxpayer. The European Union will pay a very big price for this illegal and highly unethical conduct, which I have consistently warned them about. The European Union is at it again, and as usual, taking direct aim at great American companies. After having fined Apple for no reason at all, $15 billion, Meta, $3 billion, Amazon, $2.5 billion, and many others, we have just informed that Google, whatever, a truly advanced and amazing group has been fined yet another $1 billion without explanation. I guess they got to fund all their, all those illegals in their country some way, right?
Yeah.
We're paying for everybody.
I had put up a post yesterday that somebody had said, I forget which reporter said that transformers in Nepal were starving and dying because we haven't paid for their prophylactics. Yeah, that's the right word, prophylactics. And I'm like, what? There's a way they don't have to die is maybe not do the dirty with the, never mind. And so I love when he said, we're not their piggy bank. Yeah, we have been. That's just it. They had gotten used to the American check clearing and just taking it from us and giving it to the Napoleon transformers so they could buy their prophylactics so they could continue doing the stuff that's killing them.
Yeah, another reason why we're 39 trillion in debt. I mean, a lot crazy. Of that is just money that's been stolen. And I mean, when was the last? Do you know the last time we had a balanced budget? When was that? I mean, seriously, I could ask Grok, but do you remember by any chance?
I think, and I'm using my brain. I think it was back during the Clinton days. That is how long ago it's been. I mean, I think that's as far.
That's in the 90s then, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not sure. I have to check. Mm-hmm. Now, the next story you have, I already have pulled up. So let's look at it look at it this way. Canada disinvited the United States of America to the opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge. That's the bridge between Canada and Detroit. Which is fine considering they are paying substantial tariffs to the United States. But the original deal on a bridge, which was terribly negotiated by a previous administration, no longer stands. We changed the terms of the deal so that the United States of America now gets 50% of the profit. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So basically, hey, I don't care if you if you didn't invite us, just make sure the check hits it when it's supposed to.
Okay?
I mean, that's as Eric Dory says, legend, the GOAT.
I don't care. I don't need to go to parade. I just want to make sure we get in the bank. Because
Yeah.
if you don't pay, I'm pretty sure the next step would be we're taking
We
it.
turn it off. We close the other side. Then you won't get anything.
You get
I mean,
nada. And there was one more I wanted to bring. I don't want you don't talk about the James Carville because we're coming up with
Yes.
that.
Yes,
But this one here, it's very interesting. President Xi, and this was at 11:15 this morning. President Xi at a recent meeting in Beijing told me that he would not, under any circumstances, give or sell weapons to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And that statement included Chinese companies. Considering our relationship, I take him at his word. And besides, I am doing him very big favors also. I wanted to stop there because that's very interesting to me. What very big favors is he doing for China? He just drops things in a sentence like, wait. What are the very big favors? Likewise, President Putin, despite the horrible war going on in Ukraine, the relationship remains as it does with President Zelensky. Told me that he would not sell weapons to Iran. Talking about Putin, he understands that I do not sell weapons to Ukraine, but to NATO countries. They pay full price, and how those weapons are distributed, I have no idea. Therefore, two major countries that people speak of often in terms of Iran are, in my opinion, not participating. If they did, it would be very bad for them, certainly not in their best interest. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm wondering why he had to post that. I know people were talking about Russia and China were helping Iran targeting wise. Is that why you think he put that out there?
Well, that, and I'm thinking. I mean, it seems like they have no end to their ballistic missiles. So I mean, something I don't know. Maybe it's just giving them a little I know what you guys are doing, because he says at the end that would not be a good idea, So, I mean, do I trust China and Russia? Hell no. I mean, I can't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Except you don't know what the favors are that they've asked him for. A favor is something you ask from somebody else. So
that is the oil pump, the oil, because we hold all the oil.
What is that favor? Is it possible that he is alluding if Iran's not giving them weapons and Russia's not, if China's not giving them weapons and Russia's not giving them weapons, and I doubt Zelensky is giving them weapons, where else would weapons be coming from?
Through a proxy? I mean, right?
What proxy?
Well, I mean, Iraq, some other unfriendly countries. I mean, stuff moves around all the time. I mean, we kind of do the same thing.
Hold on. I have an idea.
When I get back into the Oval Office, I will totally obliterate the deep state. They will be obliterated.
that goes without saying. But I mean, their fingers are tied into every little pie out there.
And so, has he found out that somehow they are, providing a stockpile or had a stockpile? I mean, we don't know, but something just seems weird. His demeanor seems different. And then take the other side of this: 10,000 assassination threats.
Why do they want about that yesterday?
Why do they want him dead so bad? What is it?
Because of that clip that you keep putting on. I will obliterate
the deep state. I think they can smell it's getting really close, and the only thing that they can do right now is use the media and the rhinos and the paid influencers to drive dissension amongst the ranks. And I think we just have to make sure we don't succumb to that. It's us. It's from the inside out. All right. So
all right.
I will be
commercial break.
Commercial break. I will back to you very quickly. Let's say, do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Or have you filed every year but still owe and keep owing as it keeps growing? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance you can't afford to pay back? Maybe you pulled money from your 401k or IRA early, and now the IRS wants its fair share. However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going to go backwards. Penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you who are in that situation are about to owe again next year with no plan in place. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or been unable to resolve. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or unfortunately $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. And they can do the same for you, but you have to make the call. They are offering a free, I love when people get involved with the channel and they offer free information. In this case, a free investigation call with the IRS. After that investigation, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem and get you back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Don't wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. Call 866-686-1377. Again, that's 866-686-1377, or visit tnusa.com/Barry, or you can just click the link in the description below. All right, we'll be right back.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state.
Well, would you look at that? After years of being told by Democrats that illegal immigrants would never do anything that's illegal, like voting in our elections, a Democrat just told us that thousands of illegal immigrants are voting in her state. That was New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill earlier this week, confirming another right-wing conspiracy theory and proving that illegal immigrants are in fact voting in our elections. At least 6,600 illegal aliens were registered to vote in New Jersey, with at least 400 actually having the nerve and the arrogance to go out and cast a ballot. Think about that. And isn't it odd that New Jersey is one of 30 blue states that have refused to hand over voter roll information to the Justice Department? Red states have, blue states won't do it. And then you think about why Democrats in Washington are against voter ID, and it all starts to make sense. They want illegal immigrants voting in our elections on the...
You have to at this point begin at least thinking that there are certain Republicans that want the other people voting in elections as well. It doesn't make any sense that people on the right would be fighting this, Lisa Murkowski. There's a lot of suspect stuff happening. This is an overwhelming issue. It's an 80, like I said, 80-20, 85-15. Everybody wants this to happen. But the people who need to vote to make it happen are fighting. We're never going to get any Democrats. Maybe John Fetterman, maybe. But other than that, it's going to be 99.9% Democrats will say no. That should be completely indicative of where they are, why people can't see that. They can't win an election without having fake voters and dead people and illegal people voting for them. We all know it. And what makes it worse is that every single one of us, to do so many things in our own lives, got to show ID. You have to show ID in order to get on a plane, as you know. You got to show ID oftentimes to buy liquor. You have to show ID to get a library card. You have to show ID to do so many different things, the most menial of things. You have to show ID to open a gym membership. This is elementary, and they're trying to make it out like it's something huge, some sort of impediment, but it's not. It's all BS. And now 6,600, they say, were caught in New Jersey. She had to get out in front of it. You notice how she blamed it on a previous governor. Wasn't me. But then the software company came out and said it wasn't us. You guys knew it. You put those things in there. Nobody in the media is covering that, but the software company said it wasn't us. You did it. But that being said, no harm, no foul. We can fix this. All we need to do is verify the voter roll. Why is it that the blue states specifically do not want anybody verifying the voter rolls? It's obvious. There can be no other reason. They can pontificate on every television show out there, but real life, everybody knows you got to show an ID for everything. Everything.
Fringes in key districts, just enough to make a difference. And our next guest has given the state of New Jersey 5 days to hand over their voter data and the names of all of the illegal immigrants who cast ballots in elections, which, by the way, is a federal crime. You can go to jail for that. Harmeet Dillon is the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights at the Justice Department. Harmeet, it's so nice to have you back. 2 questions. How bad do you think this problem is in New Jersey? Do you think it's bigger? And do you think other blue states are doing the same thing?
Well, thank you for having me. And so let's talk about what she said happened. So they aren't necessarily illegal immigrants, but they're immigrants who are not entitled to vote.
They could be green card holders, but still that's against the law.
They could be.
Yep.
All illegal. For the voting part is definitely illegal. Number 2, these are people who self-identified when they were getting their driver's licenses as non-citizens. So these are the people who raised their hands and said, don't register me to vote. So that's a subset of people who are registered to vote illegally in New Jersey, because there are plenty of people who go and they say I'm a citizen and they register to vote and they're not entitled to. So our Homeland Security has actually informed the state of New Jersey that there are potentially 35,000 people on the voter rolls who are not United States citizens who could be casting ballots. And New Jersey has been mum on that. That's why I'm suing New Jersey. But the other thing I want to point out to you is this is not just a blue state problem. Some of the 30 states who are resisting giving us their voter rolls include West Virginia, they include Utah, they include Republican states, because this is a bipartisan problem that, frankly, around the country, secretaries of state have not kept their voter rolls up to date. I mean, look at the governor here. She's pointing the finger at some software vendor. It's not the job of the software vendor to verify citizenship. It's the job of the Secretary of State. In this case, that job is held by the Lieutenant Governor of New Jersey. And the vendor just transmits the data. So blaming them is a cop-out.
Okay.
But we will be investigating exactly what happened there, up and down, quickly, and whose fault it is.
Okay, so you're saying 35,000 maybe in New Jersey alone? Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah.
It went from 6 to 35, but you're not going to know because you're not getting the data. Now, what I want you to, not right now, but begin looking at is the margin of victory in some of these races. Remember, President Trump lost Georgia, they say, by a very, very, very small percentage of the overall delegate, of the electorate. So when the Democrats go on CNN and go, it's just a little bit of fraud. Well, sometimes a little bit can make the big difference between somebody winning or somebody losing. Just that little bit, they keep saying. Before it was, no, it never happens. Now, it happens, but not enough to make a difference. Well, how do you know? This is one of those things you could turn right back on them. If we're not able to check the voter rolls, how do you know it's only a little bit? How do you know how many dead people voted? I don't know many of us who know dead people, haven't gone to lunch with any dead people, haven't seen anybody in line dead, but somehow they're voting. So when the argument has now turned to it never happens to it's insignificant, that's a smokescreen because you're not giving anyone the data.
That's unbelievable.
And there are hundreds of thousands that, yes, but let me tell you, there are hundreds of thousands that we've identified just in a handful of states where we've been able to get the voter data from commercial sources, so it isn't 100% accurate. But I can tell you it's scary, and these states are gaslighting their citizens. They go out there, they criticize the president's speech last week on Thursday, where he pointed out what's going on in our country, and this governor herself came out after the president's speech and said he was making it up, he's lying, and she probably knew at that time that this very problem was happening in her own state.
By the way.
All right, so she's lying. They're all lying. Every single one of them are lying, and the only way you're going to exonerate yourself is to show the goods, but they won't show it, which perpetuates the insanity that these people are spewing. But they're getting away with it. And the reason they're getting away with it, and why I was talking earlier about the full rebuke, is they don't care. They don't care whether you forge the votes. They don't care whether it's dead people. They don't care if you stuff mail-in ballots. They don't care if you kill President Trump. Bottom line is, we need to win by any means necessary. They don't care. The bulk of their party has turned sour, has turned funky. And that's where the real problem in my mind exists, because most of us think even if you're a Democrat, you might be a decent person. And these decent people have been absorbed or changed or radicalized. I don't know any anymore. I used to tell you that, Robin's family up in the mountains, there were a few people there were Democrats, not lib crazy, but they were Democrats. I wonder how they think right now. Or would they dare go against the machine? What kind of brainwashing has been put forth where you've voted a certain way for so long, and at this point, what do you mean? Yeah, your people, it's scummy. You've been invaded. And I know these people because they own homes, they own businesses, they've done well in life. There's no way they want to be socialists. There's not a chance that any of them want socialism. But then you get the kind of liberals like, well, not for me, but if it helps the poor peoples. No, you don't get to pick and choose where the socialism goes. That's the other misconception. well, I'm doing okay, but maybe those people need some socialism. Maybe they need some universal basic income, the UBI and the food stamps. No, there's no little bit pregnant here. And I don't think enough of these people have educated themselves into the mindset of the socialist. It is like a locust. It's going to eat everything in its sight, and it's going to be completely indifferent to whether you're a good Democrat or a nut job.
So the 2000 election, Bush versus Gore, was decided by 537 votes. So what's your message to anyone who says that 400 votes in the state of New Jersey isn't enough to swing an election? By the way, JFK beat Nixon in 1960 by 112,000 votes. So 35,000 votes can swing an election. What's your message to people who say this doesn't matter?
I don't know. So she said
that was 35,000 in one state. There's 50 of them. It's a lot. It's huge. That's why it's such a big issue.
This didn't matter because they keep moving the goalposts, Rob. First, this isn't happening. Well, it's happening, but it isn't significant. Now, it's happening, but it didn't sway the outcome of the election. But how does she know that? Because there were numerous municipal elections in New Jersey that were decided by a handful of votes. And as you just said, this happens all the time. And as I just said, there are likely tens of thousands of more people on the voter rolls in this state and others who do not belong and who have been casting ballots. So in the past, the Department of Justice and other administrations hasn't gone hard on the voters who vote illegally, but this Department of Justice is. We've already prosecuted some people, and there are many more in the pipeline. And this is a very serious matter. But one more point is, I've informed all election officials throughout the United States that it is a federal crime for election officials to knowingly allow non-citizens to vote.
Oh, that is huge. I mean, Harmeet has by the way, her name is Harmeet Dillon. She has got such a tough job. She's got to get in there with the snakes and the vipers and weed all this stuff out. Can you imagine what this administration is doing? Between everything Scott Besson is doing and finding out where the money's flowing and who's getting it, where did it come from. I saw that they're looking at indicting the guy from Canada, the Chinese guy that's been spending so much money in Act Blue. People keep saying nothing's happening. They don't realize how much is happening. And all the deflection that we've been hearing from people, this is it. This is our big bowl of wax right here. And whether he does it by executive order or by Andrew Jackson means it has to happen. We cannot go into the November election the way it is with 30-day counting and everything else.
We'll be very interested to know what they knew and when they knew it in New Jersey, because this is very troubling that this happened years ago, and she's just conveniently saying it now after we sent that letter out.
Okay.
So we'll see who knew what when.
Yeah, this is such a huge problem, and nobody wants to talk about it. So here's the media. The Democrat governor of New Jersey unveils this information earlier this week, and the media went out of their way to say, well, there's absolutely no evidence, to now, well, it's a little bit of evidence. It's not really a big deal. Take a look.
6,600 non-U.S. citizens were mistakenly added to New Jersey's voter roll. She says about 400 of them ended up casting ballots in a recent election. The governor says the error stemmed from a software glitch at the Department of Motor Vehicles. President Trump's speech last week claiming that voting by non-citizens is rampant, even though evidence shows it is actually quite rare.
What evidence? That's their best catchphrase. Oh, there's no evidence. He said it without evidence. Because you won't give anybody the evidence. You're fighting tooth and nail to make sure that nobody sees the evidence. But I have a stinking suspicion that he may know more than he's letting these people know.
Did you catch that, Hermine? Even though evidence shows it's actually quite rare. She's reporting that 7,000 people were just registered to vote illegally. I've got about 30 seconds. Do you plan to make an example of these 400 people who voted illegally, arrest them, charge them, and deport them if necessary?
Yeah, I mean, we are going after all of these people in all states. This is absolutely critical, and we're not calling it a glitch or error or a mistake. These are people who self-identified that they were not citizens and they voted. And so we're also doing education around that issue as well.
Okay, because that's a deterrent. If you arrest these people and charge them, it's a federal crime. If you arrest these people, that is a deterrent to other illegal immigrants or people with green cards not to vote in our elections.
Voter rolls for an audit. Do you plan to take this fight to the Supreme Court?
Well, we do. It's actually closer to 30 states. 20 states have given us their voter rolls voluntarily, and we've found hundreds of thousands of people on those voter rolls who shouldn't have been there. Now, since the governor made this announcement, we've opened up an investigation. We asked her to disclose to us the names of the 6,600 individuals who were wrongfully put on the voter rolls, and then the 400 who voted knowing that they weren't entitled to. And today, she hasn't responded to us yet, but she did tell the New York Times and others that she wasn't going to give us that information because, quote unquote, we would weaponize it, and she doesn't trust us with that.
Since when did prosecution become a weapon? Yeah, we want to weaponize it. If they broke the law, why is it that the Democrat Party, as it is right now, doesn't want any enforcement or prosecution of people who break laws? Yeah, they broke the law. They weren't supposed to register. They definitely weren't supposed to vote, but we're not going to give you their names because you might weaponize it. Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Aren't we supposed to be enforcing laws? I don't think the Democrats feel that way. They want everybody to be able to stay here. They want everything to be done a certain way so that the people who break the laws never actually face any accountability, even if you already know who they are. It's absolutely insane. The guy I was talking about earlier was Neville Singh. I want you to hear this real quick.
House panel now investigating the money trail of 3 far-left nonprofits. The issue here is whether a Marxist millionaire based in Shanghai gave them tens of millions of dollars. Lucas Tomlinson on that today out of D.C. What'd you find out, Lucas?
Good morning, Bill. The powerful House Ways and Means Committee wants to know how 3 of these left-wing nonprofits obtained more than $39 million from alleged Marxist tech tycoon Neville Singham. One Republican China hawk calls Singham a traitor and wants the Justice Department, who's launched an investigation, to lock him up.
All of his money comes from China, ties to the Chinese Communist Party, our biggest adversary in America, the Chinese Communist Party. And this guy, who is an American, but he lives in China, all of the billions of dollars that he's made come from Chinese Communist Party tech companies that are using him to funnel money to fuel left-wing violence in America.
So if he knows this, you have to realize Scott Bessent knows it because they're tracking the money that's coming from overseas into Act Blue and every place else, which obviously means President Trump knows it, which also means that President Trump more than likely has discussed it with President Xi. So why is it still happening? I think we're about to find out. I think this is going to come to a head. Remember, I read to you earlier, President Trump said he was asked for certain favors. Well, you don't do a favor like that unless you're getting something in return. Interesting. All right, let's continue.
Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith has issued subpoenas to 3 nonprofits called the People's Forum, Breakthrough News, and Tri-Continental Institute for Social Research, all left-wing organizations who Smith says failed to turn over documents voluntarily. Lawmakers are investigating whether shell companies were used to obscure the origin of the money and where existing tax-exempt laws properly guard against foreign influence. One expert tells Fox part of the problem is with this opaque world of some nonprofits.
The nonprofit system was really set up to help Americans help other Americans and not have to pay taxes to do that. So I think that the fact that you now have foreign entities that have taken such a significant interest in our nonprofit system should raise a red flag.
Now, all the organizations accused deny any wrongdoing and argue this infringes on their First Amendment rights. Recall Whittaker Chambers' warnings about communism in his best-selling autobiography, Witness, written in 1952, Bill.
Oh, no.
All right, this is getting to be very interesting if you're watching it, connecting the dots at this point. There's got to be some people with some severe, sphincter tightening.
data. Well, who can't be trusted with data, Governor Cheryl? It seems like it's actually New Jersey, because these people said they weren't entitled to vote, and then you put them on the voter rolls in your state, blaming the vendor, calling it a glitch, et cetera. It is the job of the election officials, not some data vendor, to determine citizenship when they put people on the voter rolls. That's federal law. And it also sounds like, Liz, the state allowed these people to stay on the voter rolls for more than a year after they knew that they weren't legally entitled.
Ooh, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt when they're saying there's no evidence. If they can prove you allowed these people to stay on the voter rolls, even though you knew they were illegal and didn't have the right to vote, you left them there. If you notice what Mickey Sherrill said, she's like, it happened before I got here. So you knew it. You went through your entire election. You got elected, and now you're telling everybody, I didn't know anything about it. It was Phil Murphy. It was the other guys that just left it sitting there. Then you got to ask, okay, Phil Murphy, why did you leave this stuff sitting here all these years? Because they had to. They knew it's more than 35,000. You know it's more than 35,000. I bet you it's probably at least double that in terms of all the fake names and dead people they got on the rolls. That's why they don't want to give it to Harmeet.
That is a violation of federal law, too, federal criminal law. So we're looking at this very carefully.
And you may take it to the Supreme Court. So Homeland Security found more than 250,000 illegal aliens on just 4 state voter rolls.
Look at estimated non-citizens voted by state. They found nearly 14,500 in Pennsylvania, 16,000 in Nevada, 190,000 in California, 35,000 in New Jersey, and that's just what they have found from the outside looking in. They don't have access to the actual rolls. What could those numbers skyrocket to once we begin looking at them?
You know about this. California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Nevada. You know, we did a deep dive. 25 states do automatic voter registration at the...
Our latest Fox poll, I mean, is pretty overwhelming. Registering to vote, 83% all, even 72% Democrats. And there you see...
See, this is who wants voter ID. And as you can look at it, it's overwhelming. 83%. 83. That's way over the threshold of partisan. That means both parties want voter ID. Democrats, even 72%. Even. Can you imagine that there's, 20 or 30% of Democrats who don't want any ID checked? That's insane. Look at the Republicans and independents. The only reason it's not higher than 83 overall is because the Democrats are scumbags. That's what I'm saying. Rebuke them. We don't have anything to discuss. You don't even want to follow our laws.
Voting at 77%. Ben, this is kind of rich territory for as we get closer to the midterms.
It is rich territory, and I don't know why Republicans aren't going around the country and talking about it more. I mean, this is classic, Republican politics. Go back to Newt Gingrich. You find those 80-20 issues and you lean into them as hard as you possibly can. This is stuff that the American people just believe is rational, reasonable. They don't believe the left's argument that it is in any way racist to demand, an ID the same way that you would if someone was, buying a bottle of something at a liquor store. This is absurd that the Republican Party has wasted this opportunity, I think, to go around the country and to make this case to the voters as aggressively as they ought to have been over the past couple of months. I hope that they correct that leaning into this November election, because we know all the historical trends go against them. This is the kind of thing that can change that, and I think that they're frankly just leaving it on the table and fighting amongst themselves as they typically do.
Now, that was the first time I've heard a Republican pundit say the actual truth. We're not fighting Democrats here. We're fighting Republicans. We're fighting people who supposedly call themselves MAGA. We're internally fighting. This should be screamed from the rooftops. President Trump keeps talking about it. J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, most of us. Why is there some sort of divide with the Republicans talking about it? It should be the number one issue. Somebody brings up the 2026 election, we need to have voter ID. Every single, John Thune, I don't know what you're doing, John Thune. I don't know who you're beholden to. When you keep saying you don't have the votes, you can't get the votes, you're basically waving a white flag. You're telling everybody you're inept. You're telling everybody you may be on the take. How can you look at a data point where 83% of the people say do it, where 95% of your party says do it, can't get the votes? What do you mean? Name names. Start shaming these people. If it's Lisa Murkowski, put her face out there. Tell everybody who the scumbags are that are holding things up. If it's only 4 or 5 people, we should know who they are. We should put them on blast. We should understand why they are doing what they're doing. And the reason that you're not doing it is you're covering for them. At this point, point them out. Bring them up on a microphone and let them tell the American people why they are completely against voter ID, even though 95 or 96% of people want it. Even Democrats want it. Well, Democrats who are, I guess they would consider establishment.
Well, you know, Al, two things can be true at the same time. First of all, in Louisiana, you got to show your driver's license to vote. I have to ask Michael Wallman or Fred Wertheimer, does this really have that much of effect? And voter fraud in the United States is an infinitesimal problem. I don't even, to the extent, I guess you could say it exists. Anything?
I guess you can say it exists a little bit. Yeah, it's infinitesimal. But he's smart enough, even though he's trying to defend it. He's smart enough now. We can't win this. If I believe what I'm saying, that it is, infinitesimal, which maybe he doesn't believe, but at the same time, as a strategist, he knows this is a fight we can't win. He can look at a chart. As cranky and cantankerous as he is, he can look at that same chart that Brett Baer just posted and damn, 85%, 83, whatever it was, 80% of independent. This is bad. This is very, very bad. He's smart enough to know that. He's doing his deflection, but at the same time, letting his people and his party know, I don't think we're going to be able to run away from this, folks.
Could exist. It exists on such a minuscule scale, and it's been proven time and time and time again. But I don't know if we're not better off saying, okay, we'll take that alternative ID. Bring your gas bill or your light bill or something. Because
Nope. We don't want your gas bill. We don't want your light bill. Nope. Been there, seen what people have done with that kind of stuff. Too much forgery, too much, word processor. Your ID. That's what we want. I'm not going to be satisfied with somebody bringing in a light bill.
For whatever reason, this shit polls at 75%. It doesn't make, I don't think people are aware of it. I think people assume that voter fraud happened. Again, I don't even want to say it. If you want to say infinitesimal, I don't know if I could think of a word that would be even narrower than that. I would say that. And I don't like when we say, well, look, it's a very minor problem, but you got to admit it barely exists.
Yeah, just a little bit, okay? But that little bit is pissing people off, Jim. By the way, I have to figure out how I can do my videos in my bed. That to me, that's the ultimate of laziness. Just turn on the camera while you're in bed. But anyway, I digress. Jim knows it's like having this thing in his foot, in his shoe. He got a rock in his shoe. It's not really a big deal, except that people think it's a big deal. And the fact that people think it's a big deal means we got to do something about it.
And it doesn't make any sense. Having said that, we are not going to win the war against some kind of ID.
There it is. John Thune, you got one of the preeminent Democrat strategists over the last decades pretty much telling the Democrats we're not going to win this. So if you're basically looking inside at a coaching meeting, and the coach is looking at this wide receiver and we can't stop him. I don't know what we do. You don't want that to be known. You don't want people to hear that you're like, I don't know how we're going to stop this dude. Well, he just told the world, we can't stop this. We cannot win this fight. We are going to have to acquiesce one way or the other. John Thune, are you watching? Are you listening to what he's telling Democrats, that this is a no-win solution here? They can't get away from it? Because when you hear that as an opposing player, as an opposing team, an opposing coach, you start salivating. I found your Achilles heel. That's it. That is your number one thing to go to for the election coming up. None of the other stuff. I don't give a crap about gas prices. I don't care about egg prices. I don't care about affordability. You've got their Achilles heel. And every single one of you at this point has to know, when you look at those numbers, that's the winning thing on two different fronts. One, ideologically, and number two, it chases a whole bunch of their votes away because the dead people aren't going to show up. I don't know how they've been showing up, but the dead people won't show up. So, John Thune, if you're going to call the offices, which I encourage you to do, tell them, did you hear what James Carville said? They are even saying, even the Democrats, the earlier one I showed you, they say we can't beat them here. So if you know that you've got a key to victory, you got to run that play. You got to keep running that play. Hey, yeah, give me the double Q Waddle coming through the inside check. Run that play over and over. Why are today's Republicans, sort of rhinos, maybe MAGA, FAGA, out there bitching about stuff when everybody right now should be screaming from the bleachers, run the play. Give it to Fred. Do it. Because now we know for sure that even they realize they can't defend it.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fix anything, but maybe you just go along with it and move to the next
Well,
thing.
James, let me disagree. We have voter ID in most states. Most states have voter ID.
Right.
What they're trying to do with this so-called SAVE Act is require what they say is proof of citizenship, which is either a birth certificate, which, I don't know, 25, people have a hard. I went a couple of years ago, I was going to take a trip overseas, and about 10 days ahead of time, I couldn't find, I spent 10 days trying to get my birth certificate.
Why did you spend 10 days trying to get your birth certificate? Let me answer that for you. You spent 10 days trying to get your birth certificate because it was important for you and your wife or whoever to go on that vacation. It meant a whole lot to you. I am going to go through these hurdles so I can go on this vacation. And it took you 10 days. Okay. Well, I'm looking at the calendar right now and I'm thinking, you got 4 months, never mind years. If you didn't have your birth certificate or passport or a driver's license, or now you still got 4 months, 120 days. It took you 10 for some reason, but we're going to give you 120 days. Go for it. Get your driver's license, get your passports, if you don't already have it. No more excuses. It's the same thing every 2 and 4 years. She couldn't get to go get her driver's license. Oh, it's too far for her to get her birth certificate. Oh, it's too expensive for a passport. You wanted to go on vacation, didn't you? And because you wanted to go on vacation, you did what you had to do to get that birth certificate. Shouldn't voting in our elections, our electoral process, be even more important than going on vacation? You just basically underscored your idiocy. Man, I take voting seriously. I'm pretty sure you take voting seriously. Just like you're going on a vacation. Robin said, your passport expired. I got to get my passport renewed so we can go on vacation. I'm doing it, but then again, I know I'll have it when it's time to go vote. It's not an impediment that anybody who's even going on a vacation said, you know, it's going to take me 10 days to get it. Well, you got 120. Do something about it. And John Thune, you need to understand this is a must-have. And if Trump is going to go around you, then fine. Then maybe it is you need to go as well. There's no excuses here. None whatsoever why we keep having the same discussion every 2 and 4 years about how hard it is to get an ID. Most of us have had ID since we were 16 years old. Most of us. Every single of these people who are baristas at Starbucks, they got IDs. If you're getting benefits, you got an ID. I want to know who doesn't have the ID. It can't be the poor people because they get free shit. Excuse my language. So they're going to have to prove who they are. They had to sign up for this stuff. So I want to know who this segment of society is that you supposedly can't get voter ID. Oh, it's going to be too hard on married women. My wife's married. My daughter's married. My sister's. What do you mean? That argument only works on stupid people. Matter of fact, you couldn't get married without an ID. So none of this stuff makes any sense, and that's our winning formula.
Or secondly, a passport, which most people don't have. And thirdly, you know, if you talk about your birth certificate and, you know, you didn't get to keep your maiden name, my wife let me keep mine. If you didn't get to keep your maiden name, you know, you're in trouble. So I think you're absolutely right on voter ID, but we basically have it. If we have it, just say, okay, pass the law. I mean, I think it's, I don't want to pass.
There it is. He just said we basically have it. Even James Carville, like, well, if we have it, pass the damn law. And then a guy comes back and goes, well, I don't want to do that. Why? I love when people tie themselves in knots. You say one thing, and then literally seconds later, you can't even substantiate what you just said. And if James Carville is telling us this is where the pain point is, why aren't we sticking our fingers in this wound and just making it hurt? What are we talking about here?
I never had a problem with it. I'm just saying, of all the things, people, if every poll shows 75 or better, say we should have some kind of an ID to vote. Some say, I don't know what it is, but shit, just quit fighting and go along with it and move to the next thing.
There it is. I couldn't have explained it any better. From the bed of James Carville, he's like, can we just move on from this? We're not going to win this. Wave the white flag. Trump's going to get it. If we lose, we lose. Start over. That's it. But I'm not worried what the Democrats are doing. I'm not worried what the socialists are doing. My concern, and your concern at this point, is what the people on the right are doing. You realize right now, we wouldn't even be having this discussion except if it wasn't the traitors in our own camp that are causing the issue. Right now, Mike Johnson and Thune should just be able to pass this thing. President Trump would have it, and there would be no 2026 competition. It would be over. Why is it people on our side are causing this competition when it doesn't need to be? We could eradicate them. We could completely never have to worry about a Democrat Party, I think, ever again. So I don't care about any polls. They're bullcrap. I don't care if people can do stump speeches. This issue right here solves everything. Everything. So if you're going to call Thune or your local congressperson, this is a one-issue election. We get voter ID, all this other stuff falls into place. It's that simple, very simple. All right, so it's 3:18. President Trump is fashionably late. Let me just refresh here to see if he's come out. No, he hasn't come out as of yet. Let me check and see what SV's got. You got anything?
I always have information for folks.
I got to tell you, looking at your background and everything, it would look so much better from a giant king-size bed with indented pillow heads,
Yes.
just sitting back and going, "Hey, let me click some buttons here."
I need to get a lot of bottles and like liquor
we
bottles.
could be like the Caligula, the Caligula show. Like Robin, bring me grapes.
I thought he looked like he was in a coffin. It looked like he was being fitted for, didn't it?
Oh my God!
I'm ready to go.
I cannot believe he did a video on a podcast from his bed. Oh,
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Does he have any shame?
Not only just the bed, his pillows behind him, and he's sitting there looking like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He doesn't care. I'm like, oh my gosh!
You remember when that crypt keeper used to do that funny laugh? I'm not going to attempt to do it. I'll probably scare some people, but I'm expecting him to break out in that. Anywho, we do have some news and stuff.
No,
No, we don't. We're going right to Trump.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't get any warning. They just turned on the camera and said, "We're going."
I saw it come up on the White House Live. All right, see you soon.
Hold on, he's not. Why is this not working? They froze it. Is the White House feed moving? Because this one's
the
frozen.
White House feed. He's talking right now. I'm listening.
Hold on, let me hit refresh because.
Right.
But
he's got everybody behind him.
Yeah, I can see all the people. It froze for a second. All right, he's talking now. Let me turn this on, and then you guys can hear it. I guess he's going to be talking about nuclear power here. All right. Let's get to this.
Dominance Counsel, Jared Agent, U.S. Chief Technology Officer Ethan Klein, and Director of Idaho National Laboratory, John Wagner. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. It's a big day. I also want to recognize and congratulate CEO of Antares Nuclear, Jordan Bramble, CEO of Valar Atomics, Isaiah Taylor, CEO of Deployable, not Deplorable. Remember Hillary? Deplorable. Hopefully your company's going to work out a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck. Deployable Energy, Bobby Gallagher, and CEO of Allo Atomics, Matt Lozak. Thank you all for being with us. Last year, I signed 4 historic executive orders to reignite a wave of progress in America's nuclear power production and promote this abundant, affordable, unlimited supply of energy for the American people. As part of this effort, I directed Secretary of Energy Chris Wright to establish a pilot program for advanced reactors and see at least 3 cutting-edge reactors started up safely by the 4th of July. And what we've done has been pretty much of a miracle. Most believe the goal was impossible, but I'm delighted to say that 4 companies succeeded in meeting that deadline for the greatest in the world at this subject. So these are the first new privately funded advanced reactors to turn on the United States in over 4 decades, and making sure that these groundbreaking designs were safe to build and test so quickly was a challenge that required a historic partnership between these innovative companies and our administration. We have brilliant nuclear people. We have a lot of brilliant people, but we have brilliant nuclear people on our staff. In the past, it often took 6 years or more to approve a reactor design, if they were ever approved at all. Most of them didn't get approved, and maybe rightfully so. But now America is building again, America is dreaming again, and we're leading the world and pioneering the next generation of nuclear power. There's nobody even close. We've taken a lead over the last 2 years that has been, I hope, insurmountable. We'll see. But let me ask Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Michael Kratzius, who's been absolutely fantastic in the administration, to say a few words, followed by a few of the people. Let's see, Chris Wright will go, and Jordan Bramble, and Isaiah Taylor, then Bobby Gallagher, and Matt Lozak. And if you could, don't spend too much time. That's a lot of people. But go ahead, and do you want to start it off, Chris, please?
We have Michael Grazios first.
Sure. Go ahead, Michael.
Mr. President, you signed four executive orders last year, and you set one of the most ambitious goals in civil nuclear history to essentially have 3 reactors go critical by the 4th of July. This is an accomplishment that many thought would not be possible. The last time that a privately funded new reactor design went critical was in 1974, so it was over 50 years ago. And we were able to achieve that and surpass it by having 4, and these are the great 4 American companies that got it done.
That's great. Go ahead, please.
In the last 30 or 40 years, the American nuclear industry has been quiescent. Most of the reactors built around the world have been built by Russia and China, both in their countries and abroad. President Trump said enough of that. America is going to be back as the leader in the nuclear space, in large reactors and in next generation small reactors. He set a bold goal. It's been exceeded, and I'm incredibly proud to be standing here with these fabulous entrepreneurs next to me.
And brilliant science people, too, really. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you so much for your leadership. It was really your executive orders that catalyzed this nuclear renaissance. When they first came out, people scoffed at them. They said it couldn't be done. And now there's not only 3 companies, but 4 companies here that really met the moment. Us at Antares, we look forward to being a resilient energy source for Golden Dome, to power high-powered assets in space, and eventually undersea autonomy. So this is a strategic technology for our nation. And what we look forward to doing is putting reactors on our military installations before 2028.
That's great. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, please, go ahead.
And Mr. President, thank you so much for your leadership in this moment. I think that the United States has been a leader in nuclear energy since the very beginning. We were the first ever to turn on an advanced reactor in the world. We were also the first to turn on any type of nuclear reactor in the world. But over the last 30 years, we became more interested in PowerPoint than in power plants. And it's your leadership that is changing that. The executive orders that were signed last year, I think if you look forward in 50 to 100 years when we have nuclear power of every kind that's allowing us to make steel again, to make aluminum again, to actually be able to go to outer space and all the places that humanity wants to go, you could trace it back to the executive orders that started last year. So we're honored to serve our country and be a part of this. And thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you. Great job. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for setting such an audacious, bold goal. As some of the other CEOs have said, most people thought this was impossible. But the American spirit was unlocked through your vision and through the Department of Energy and the Secretary and through the INL and John's team. We couldn't be more proud to be part of this moment. I do think this is going to be historic. I do think people are going to look back and believe that this is when the tide turned on nuclear and how we unlock cheap and abundant energy.
Thank you. That's a great job you're doing, too, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Yeah, one more. We cut it close, but we went critical at 12:20 a.m. on the 4th of July.
Wow.
So thank you again so much for setting these executive orders. Like everyone else said, we would not be here without those executive orders, so thank you so much. And what it's unlocking for us is this year we are going to be raising $1 billion, moving into a 1 million square foot facility, and our target market is data centers. So we're making the ideal nuclear product to power
right.
data centers with bring your own power. That's our whole goal. So thank you once again for unlocking this, and we really, really cannot be here without you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have anything to say?
Sure. Go ahead. No, I would just say, this is exactly why you created the Energy Dominance Council, that you wanted to unlock new forms of energy. People ask us all the time about green energy, and I say if you want to invest in green energy, invest in nuclear. That's the kind of energy that's going to solve the energy demand that's out there, and that's baseload energy that's going to solve our solutions, and that's the energy of the future.
Good. Thank you.
Well,
I would just add, we invented nuclear power in this country. At Idaho National Laboratory, first demonstrated nuclear power in 1951. After that, 52 different reactors were designed and tested there. But it's been, prior to the last couple of months with these gentlemen, it has been more than 50 years since we had a new reactor go critical on our site. And I have to say that in all my years, and I've been around for a while, I've never seen government, private industry, and the laboratories working together this effectively. And it's all driven by the bold goals in your executive orders. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. So, first of all, maybe you have some questions for
The people behind me, please, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. President. I want to ask about the Saudi nuclear deal. This man over your shoulder announces a big deal after 18 months of negotiating with the Saudis. Seems like it's all done, it's signed, and then you come out, throw some new conditions on top of it, the whole thing blows up. So did he get out ahead of you, or what happened there?
No, nobody got out ahead. I mean, I just say that in order to do it, they have to be a member of the Abraham Accords, which have been very successful. But it's time now that they do it. They and others didn't want to do it because of the problem that they had with Iran. You don't have that problem anymore. You don't have a great power there anymore. You have a problem, but the problem is disappearing day by day. They were the bully of the Middle East. They were not going to be that much of a bully anymore. They'll probably, I think, instinctively want to be. But you don't have the same problem that you would have had 4 or 5 months ago before they had no Navy, no military, no anti-aircraft, no leaders. I mean, their leaders are gone. A lot of things have changed with respect to that country. So, no, we want them to, it's a two-way street, and we think it's very important for the future of the Middle East. The Abraham Accords have been incredibly successful for the countries, as you know, for the countries in them. And I think it's very important. So, you know, at some point they'll join, and they'll do their civil, it's really, I call it civil nuclear, but that's what it is. No enrichment, it's civil nuclear.
Quick question about Iran. You're talking about blowing up civilian power plants and bridges. Much of the civilized world would consider that a war crime. Do you?
I won't respond to that question. Who are you with?
The New York Times.
I figured so. Failing New York Times.
Javier Negre from Real America's Voice in Español. I just came back from Venezuela, and people there are very happy with you.
Right.
With Secretary Marco Rubio, with Secretary Wright.
Have good poll numbers in Venezuela.
I know some use plans for there, and they are amazing. I want to give you thank you. I want to ask you one question, because some people there, they are asking with that. When will there be elections? Do you have a date in mind? Senator Bernie Moreno said that July 24, 2027 could be a good day in honor of Simon Bolivar. And my second question is, the football player who scored Spain's goal in the final at World Cup, Ferran Torres, celebrate the victory wearing a Make Spain Great Again cap. The communists are attacking him because they say that it's a friend of you, and also they are attacking Argentinian players because of Milei. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a great player, and he was wearing essentially a Make America Great Again cap, you know, so it was a nice tribute, and I think he meant that very nicely.
They are amazing. I want to give you thank you. I want to ask you one question, because some people there, they are asking with that. When will there be elections? Do you have a date in mind? Senator Bernie Moreno said that July 24, 2027 could be a good day in honor of Simon Bolivar. And my second question is, the football player who scored Spain's goal in the final at World Cup, Ferran Torres, celebrate the victory wearing a Make Spain Great Again cap. The communists are attacking him because they say that it's a friend of you, and also they are attacking Argentinian players because of Milei. What do you think about that?
Well, he's a great player, and he was wearing essentially a Make America Great Again cap, you know, so it was a nice tribute, and I think he meant that very nicely, and we appreciate it. We've made America great. We have the greatest country in the world now. I will say this, we were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, this country was in deep trouble. We had borders that were a disaster. We had everything you could possibly have, including men playing in women's sports. Even the Supreme Court's taken care of most of that problem. But we had a country that was in big trouble. It was being laughed at all over the world. We have the hottest country. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. So I saw him wearing the essentially Make America Great Again hat. And I know that he meant it as a very great compliment, and we appreciate it. As far as the elections in Venezuela, they're not really ready for them yet, but boy, a lot of progress has been made. Delcy's been doing a fantastic job, as you know. The amount of oil coming out of Venezuela right now, even before the big companies, you know, Exxon, all the big companies are looking at it, they're going there. It's very fertile territory. But the amount of money being made by Venezuela now is more than they've ever made before, and we're taking a lot also for our efforts. And the money is being sent, and the oil is being sent to Houston and Louisiana to be refined. And we paid for the war many times over. It's been an amazing fact, and as you say, you know, I'm very popular in Venezuela because we're bringing tremendous economics back to the country. And they were absolutely dying. They were in such trouble. And now Venezuela is becoming extremely successful. They're taking in billions of dollars, selling millions and millions of barrels of oil, and we're getting some, and they're getting some, and everybody's making a lot. And it was dead before we got there. So it's been an incredible relationship. They're not ready yet for the elections, but at some point they will be, and we're going to be standing right on top of it. And say hello. Say hello. I've known them for a long time. I've known that country, and you know, I own the Miss Universe pageant, and Miss Venezuela always did very well in that pageant. So I know something about the country, but I've known it for a long time. They're great people. Say hello, okay?
Mr. President.
Peter?
Mr. President, about Iran, what is the exit strategy?
Well, I think there's a lot of them. There's a military exit where we just keep going just the way we are, and we can even make it a heavier dose, and it's knocking out everything they have. Or there's a smarter strategy, and that's you make a deal, and they want to make a deal. I just don't think they're ready yet, but they do want to make a deal. Sometimes they don't want to say they want to make a deal. They want to be the tough guys, but they do want to make a deal. There's two ways. I mean, it's you can just keep doing exactly what we're doing and take them apart piece by piece. We could do it in a more rapid fashion, which we might do, or we can negotiate with them, which we're also doing right now. I mean, as we speak, we're talking to them.
And you said today that Russia and China are not helping. Earlier this week, the War Secretary Hegseth said that they are enabling. So what is the difference?
Well, I don't know that they're enabling. I mean, I will tell you that President Xi said he will not partake, and President Putin said the same thing. I think, you know, I trust them. They've had a long-term relationship. There could be some things they do, but thus far, at least, it has not been major. I don't think they'd want to have me disappointed.
And just a different story, not Iran. There's this nasty parasite that is giving people in 9 states explosive diarrhea. When is it going to be safe to eat lettuce again?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It's the first time I've been asked that question.
I should always have more lettuce.
You want to get the hell out of here, Peter. No, it's a very interesting question from you. I didn't think you'd ask that kind of a question. Nobody wants to ask that question, but it's exciting.
There's this food coming in, I guess, from Mexico. It's tainted. It's making a lot of people sick. That is the CDC's terminology.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a major tariff on Mexico because of the lettuce, and we're going to put a big tariff on Canada because of the smoke. All right, we'll get a comment. Which would you have, the lettuce or the smoke? I think I'll take the smoke.
Yeah, the smoke wrecked my daughter's swim meet.
Well, it's closed up a lot of countries. I've told Canada they have to do something about it. You know, we've never had this problem. All of a sudden, we have this problem with Canada. So we'll have to talk to them about that.
Mr. President, follow up on Iran. Thank you, sir. Follow up on Iran. Have you made a decision about the major strikes that you were referring to? Okay. Should we expect to see major strikes?
Look, we're talking to them right now. I think they're getting more and more serious as the days go by, for maybe the obvious reason. But we are talking to them right now. Look, there are two ways. I consider that the smarter way, but the other is probably the easier way, doing what we're doing. And we can take that to a much higher level if we want to. You know, we're prepared to do that, as you know. We're locked and loaded. We're locked and loaded and ready to go, but we're talking to them. So I think while we're talking, we'll see what comes of it.
And when you say, just a quick follow-up.
I believe, Jeff, they're very serious. Okay. They should be.
And when you say that you're talking, is it Mr. Kushner or Mr. Witkoff, or who's involved in those talks?
Sort of everybody. JD and Marco and a lot of people are talking to, a lot of people to talk to. It's a big deal. But really, when you get right down to it, it's not very complex. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. You know, very, very simple actually. But it's a big deal. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they have even a thought of a nuclear weapon, we will just continue to go at much higher levels. But we are talking right now, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm not, you know, despite what everyone says about the election, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. We have to do it right. Elections take care of themselves. When I went into Venezuela, everybody was against it. Oh, what are you doing going into Venezuela? And then 2 days later, they said, wow, that's fantastic. A lot of people are saying that with Iran already, because it would take them 25 years to rebuild already from what they have. And again, as you know, no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no radar, no nothing. And we, as you know, we just reinstituted I guess you could I call it the iron wall on the water. Nothing gets through. Nothing. Blockade. Nothing gets through. And they sort of have to make a deal. But we are talking to them. I think they're being serious. I think they are being by far the most serious that we've seen them. But that doesn't mean we get there. We'll see what happens. But I always prefer that alternative.
Mr. President, did you? I have an energy question. So, Burgum, you might be able to help with this. So, you have criticized windmills for quite a long time. They're very ugly. They tend to use more energy than they actually produce.
That's true.
A lot of people in
done your homework.
A lot of people in Middle America, they are just so tired of seeing them continue to go up on farmland and stuff like that. Is there any way to? Is our federal government still funding in any way putting these up?
We have. I can speak for Doug, and then I'm going to let Doug speak because he knows the subject. I really do know that subject well. We have not approved anything having to do with windmills. They are horrible. Mm-hmm. They are unsightly. They ruin housing values of people. If you're looking at a windmill or hearing a windmill because they're noisy, they kill all the birds. They kill all the eagles. You shoot an eagle, you go to jail for 2 years. If you kill an eagle with a windmill, you don't go to jail, and they have hundreds of them laying on the ground. It's terrible. And they're very expensive energy. And they're all made in China, but China has very few windmills. They're made in China, but China doesn't use them for the most part. China actually uses coal, oil and gas. They use nuclear, by the way. They're getting very big in nuclear, I want to tell you, this little group. But they don't use wind. Wind is inconsistent. It's unattractive. It's very expensive. It's probably the most expensive form of energy. So I've been talking about it. We essentially, unless there's a trick reason, we will have hopefully no wind farms approved. We're doing more than anybody ever in history having to do with energy. But I've restricted wind farms, windmills. Take a look at Palm Springs, California, where they have a wind farm. As you enter beautiful Palm Springs, California, it looks like a junkyard. You have old ones, rotted ones, they're falling down all over the place. They don't want to bury it because they say the fiber that the blades are made out of should not go in the ground because it's going to poison the ground. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but if it's not going to go in the ground, what do you do with it? Put it up in the air?
Yeah.
So, good. I see you're not a fan of windmills.
No, I'm not a fan of windmills, Mr. President. I'm very passionate about this.
Doug, do you want to speak about that first?
No, but I would say, yes, President Trump has wisely understood that wind was unreliable, intermittent, dependent on the weather, only existed particularly offshore because of massive subsidies. So not only was it expensive to generate electricity on the grid, it was also expensive for taxpayers because of the subsidies. And so again, President Trump shifting the policy towards energy dominance, which is reliable, affordable, 7x24 energy that's not dependent on the weather. And so that includes nuclear, includes hydro, includes geothermal, includes oil and gas, includes beautiful coal. And again, China, 60% of their electricity is coming from coal. Coal was the #1 electric producer in the world 125 years ago. And it was for the last 125 years in a row, and it will be again this year. 126, quite a streak if you're an athletic team that they've won 126 years in a row. But President
we were restricted from using it.
Yep.
Every coal mine was going to be closed down within the next year if we didn't win the election. And it's I call it clean, beautiful coal because it is. What they do today with coal is amazing. But it is the most powerful. And with that, go ahead,
Well, as I say, under President Trump's leadership, and then working together as a team across government with Chris Wright, Lee Zeldin, Energy Dominance Council, we've kept open 35 gigawatts of coal this last year, and of that, 35 gigawatts was not up. This past winter during the cold streak and Storm Fern, we would have seen brownouts, blackouts, and literally people dying in America during that cold weather. So again, President Trump's, the elections matter. When he came in, he turned the direction back towards reliable, affordable energy. Nuclear is a key part of that with these amazing entrepreneurs. And I just would add to this up here. People need to understand, the four guys that are standing up here did not get a government grant. This is private sector. President Trump unleashed capital going back in, billions of dollars of capital going back into the nuclear industry. President Trump understands innovation is the source of American greatness. You get rid of the regulation, you support entrepreneurs, the capital flows, America wins.
Mr. Secretary, the starting for this nuclear, dominance, what does that look like for the American people out there? Like, what are those first steps that we can see in these coming months and years?
Well, I just to say, I'll go on. You can see it right now because when you take a look across the whole world, President Trump's policies, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Alaska, whether it's reinstating export for 18 months ago, we had a ban on LNG exports from our country. Now we're the world's largest exporter of LNG. President Trump's policy was let's sell energy to our friends and allies, keep it affordable at home, so our friends and allies can stop buying from our adversaries. Russia was selling virtually all of the natural gas into Western Europe. 2/3 of that gas has been displaced by America. America has turned those into our customers, supporting our allies. And with Venezuela, as President Trump said, that flowing to our refineries on the South Coast, that's lowering gas prices for America. Unleashing Alaska, which the previous administration sanctioned more than Iran, that's going to again help provide low-cost energy for Americans. So today we have the lowest priced, most secure energy of any country in the world. That's going to change the course of this country for decades to come.
Mr. President, what? The Justice Department last night withdrew those subpoenas to the New York Times journalists who reported on Air Force One. Do you support these type of subpoenas to journalists, or are you going to encourage the administration?
We're not after journalists. We're after leakers. We're after people that are cowards, people that are unpatriotic, people that are treasonous in many cases. And the way you find them is through the journalists. When the journalists probably know they shouldn't write, they shouldn't be giving information out like that particular information or others. We had a lot of, look at the Supreme Court where they leaked the opinion of Roe v. Wade early. That person should be found. And the way you find them is to tell the journalist, if it's something having to do with national security, you tell the journalist, who is it? And we have a long way to go with that case.
So you think it's appropriate to subpoena family members of journalists to find out information?
What's that again?
There were subpoenas to family members of the journalists too.
I don't know what's appropriate, what's not. We do it legally. Barack Hussein Obama did it all the time. He went after journalists and nobody said anything about it. He went after journalists. They said, who was the leaker? Who was the leaker? And if you don't give us the leaker, you go into jail. You know that. But when Obama does it, it's okay. When I do it, it's not. In many cases, that's the only way you're going to find out who a leaker is, and it has to do with national security. It's amazing. He did it many times, and nobody said anything about it. But when a Republican does it, when, in particular, Trump does it, everybody makes a big deal. Now, the way you find out is you say to the journalist, if it's national security, I would say, I really put it down to national security, not in all cases, but when you have somebody doing a national security leak or a leak of great importance, and you have somebody inside the walls of, let's say, the White House leaking, I think that's a national security concern. I think it's absolutely fine. And again, I'm not knocking Obama for doing it. I'm knocking the press for not even wanting to cover it. But Obama did that often. Other presidents have done it also. They go to the journalist or the reporter, they say, national security, who gave you this information? I'm okay with that.
Mr. President, did you authorize for Secretary Wright to sign the Saudi nuclear deal? If not, why did he sign it?
Well, we didn't talk about it, but it was always understood, and Chris knew, and Saudi Arabia knew, that if they didn't join the Abraham Accords, the deal's not, I'm not going to do the deal.
So then why did he sign it?
Senator John.
Because they understood that in order, it's subject to Congress and everything else, in order for that deal to go through, they had to sign into the Abraham Accords. And they've had great success. The Abraham Accords have been very successful. But in order to do that, we wanted them, we want them in. We think it's very good. We think the Abraham Accords bring peace in the Middle East. And now there's no longer an Iran factor. There's no longer Iran to worry about because they've been reduced in terms of their capability and power by manyfold.
Thank you. Senator John Thune has suggested that if the White House thinks that there are votes to pass the Save America Act, you should be picking up the phone.
Who are you with?
I'm with the Washington Examiner, sir. Could you be doing more to help that legislation pass?
Well, I do more. I got 3 congressmen, maybe 4, to settle, to send it to the Senate. We got the vote, as you know, in Congress. I got a call from Mike Johnson, who's fantastic. He's a fantastic speaker, one of the best I've ever seen, and I think he's going to go down as one of the best. He called. He said, we have problems with 3 or 4 people. Could you call them? I called them. Every one of them, after I called them, voted, and we got it passed up to the Senate. And I'd certainly be willing. I mean, he's got 4 or 5 people that are very difficult. A couple of them I put out of office, so I understand how it feels. I mean, they're doing the wrong thing. Look, who cannot approve voter ID? Who cannot approve proof of citizenship? Who cannot approve funding military when you're winning a war? And what are you supposed to do, stop fighting? We're winning a war by a lot. We're talking to them right now. They're willing to do things that they would have never done. Other presidents should have done this a long time ago. They say 47, but now it's actually 50 years. We've been saying 47 for 3 years. So it's 50 years. For 50 years, they should have done it. But who wouldn't approve voter ID? And that's photo ID. Who wouldn't approve proof of citizenship? And the Democrats don't want it because they cheat. But no Republican should put us in a position where they don't approve something like that. Yeah, please.
And then earlier today, you reposted Lara Loomer's interview with President Zelensky. What do you make of growing MAGA support for the war in war in Ukraine, sorry?
Well, I think they support what I support. We just had a complete win in Arizona. The young gentleman who's Harry Enton, I believe his name is, the pollster said Trump's 100% favorable. He gets everybody endorses wins, which is pretty much true. Everyone I endorse just about wins. So there seems to be a natural bond between me and MAGA, but I'm the one that created MAGA, and I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. MAGA knows what MAGA wants, and MAGA is very happy. They want to see this done, and they're not going to be happy if it's not done. Make America great again. It's all about make America. We started that a long time ago. But the concept of not approving voter ID or not approving proof of citizenship, and I won't even get into the ballot thing because, we'll hold that maybe for another time. I think the two are 97, 98% issues. I think the ballots are 75% issue. But even at 75, they should do the ballots. The ballots are in many ways more important than even the first 2. But they're a little more controversial because some people don't want to go and vote. But most great Americans want to go and vote. The corrupt ballot stuff that you saw that with the recent election in Los Angeles, the mayor's election, where the young guy, I don't know him, I came to the office recently after he lost, and they find all these ballots all of a sudden out of they came down from heaven, hundreds of thousands of ballots. Isn't it wonderful? He had no chance of losing, Spencer Pratt. He had no chance. He was going to be in second place or first place. But I saw it happen. I said, oh, he's not going to win. He had to beat somebody. He was way up on a person that nobody ever heard of, a young woman who nobody ever heard of. She cried that night that she lost. But all of a sudden, time went by, and the election's long over. And I heard a report that Spencer Pratt's not doing that well. I said, what? She's going to lose. And he lost. It's crooked. We have crooked elections in some places.
President Trump, today it was announced LeBron James has decided that he wants his next team to be the 76ers. Where do you stand on LeBron versus Michael Jordan as the best ever?
Well, Michael Jordan's a guy that's a friend of mine. Play golf with him. He's a really good guy. And I think LeBron is, maybe he's a racist, but maybe he doesn't like Trump. I don't know. But I only like people that like me. So I would say Michael Jordan all the way.
And another sports question. When Tiger Woods was about to get arrested, he called you. Now we know that when Bryson DeChambeau was having a dispute with a rules official this week, he wanted to call you. You got involved with a red card for the U.S. men's soccer team. Is there a precedent for somebody with your job becoming a fixer for the world's best athletes?
Well, like, I thought the Bryson call was a tough call. I saw him walking around. I see a lot of people, they're walking around looking for their ball in weeds, okay? But I've been watching that, so, I thought it was a tough call against him. I thought the red card was a very tough call. And it worked out brilliantly. Look, supposing that they didn't let him play and we lost, everyone would have been angry, right? The way it was that they lost with their best player. Now everyone's happy, including Belgium. Of course, they lost the next game, so they're not that happy either. But it worked out great. Johnny did a good job in making that call. All I did, I asked for a review. I thought that call was not a good call.
Mr. President, your administration announced new tariffs today, and you did a post earlier also about a probe against the EU. Are you confident that the new tariffs and any tariffs that may come from this probe will withstand legal scrutiny?
Well, these tariffs have been up for a long time. They've been approved for years, thousands of cases they've been approved. Of course, with me, it's different. I go up, I don't get treated fairly, but I've lived with it. And here we are in the Oval Office. I guess I somehow figured it out. But no, we put the tariffs on. They're very standard tariffs. The other way was easier. I thought the decision by the Supreme Court was not a good one. But we have many forms of tariffs. And all we did is go to B, follow the line B. Now, B is something that's been used many, many times for years and very standard. And we've used that, and we're taking in billions of dollars. And because of tariffs, largely, I think the election, November 5th, but largely because of tariffs, we have $19.2 trillion being invested in our country. And without tariffs, we wouldn't, would be in big trouble. Think of it. So the Sleepy Joe Biden administration has less than $1 trillion being invested, much less for 4 years. We have $19.2 trillion for 1 year. There's never been anything like it in history. That's because of tariffs. So the Supreme Court said, please do it a different way. You have other ways to do it, and we did that.
USTR mentioned Iran.
You told Axios.
Child labor was one of the things that USTR cited as a reason.
Well, it seems to me that that's what they decided. They go all over the world and they look and they examine and they see and they see. And child labor was one of the things that one of the reasons, and they had a big problem with that. Yeah.
You told Axios that you were considering a quote massive attack on Iran. What is the tipping point for you to make the decision?
Well, I can't tell you that. Right now we're talking to them, so maybe there won't be a tipping point, and maybe there will. And we're ready to go. Look, we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go, but we're talking to them. So maybe there will be, maybe there won't be a tipping point.
But at what point with Iran do you think they're going to cry uncle and actually come to the table?
Well, maybe they will cry uncle, or maybe they'll just give up, or maybe they'll just go into a cave and hide. They have caves very deep in the ground, and they can hide. They get shaken up pretty good, but they can hide. But we've taken out their first level of leadership. We've then taken out their second level of leadership. We've taken out some of the third level, and we're negotiating with the rest. And we'll see how it all works. And right now we are talking to them seriously, but I've talked to them before, and they don't seem to be able to get there. Maybe now they will. But, look, if I thought they were anywhere near getting a nuclear weapon, if I wasn't elected, Israel would, in my opinion, not be around anymore. They would have been hit by a nuclear weapon. And that includes right at the beginning with Barack Hussein Obama's nuclear deal that was so bad with Iran. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. And maybe even more so, the B-2 bombers. If that plane right there, that plane, that beautiful plane, the wing, it carries the largest bombs in the world. If that bomb didn't go over their 17-hour flight, and it hit every one of those bombs, hit their target, and the target was an air shaft at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's hard to believe, right? Going at very tremendous speeds. Every one of them hit and blew it to hell. If that didn't happen, they would have had a nuclear weapon and there would be no Israel. If I wasn't here, if I wasn't president, there would be no Israel and there probably would be no Middle East. And you saw that when they shockingly started shooting at everybody all over the Middle East. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used that. There might not be a Middle East as we know it today, but there definitely, in my opinion, there would not have been an Israel. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you. Thank you.
Insufferable.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I think we have to find out how much Peter Ducey or Steve Ducey, whichever one it is, gets paid and figure out how we can divide that money up amongst people. Wow.
Insufferable.
He actually, in the Oval Office, talking about explosive diarrhea.
Again. Save the lettuce. Save the lettuce.
I mean, I could not believe it. You have an opportunity. He calls on you, and we're talking about nuclear reactors and all kinds of stuff, and you got a chance. And what do you say? What do you think about explosive diarrhea? Oh, my God.
And then that beautiful lady, she's out there. I'm really passionate about windmills. How about being passionate about the Save America Act? Let's start with that one.
Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. So before I get to Elon's interview, which is amazing, so stick around. We're going to be here a while.
All right.
Yeah. What do you got here? You got this one.
Phil. I got a couple things.
What number?
5 through 8. You could start at 5, go to 6, 7, or 8, whichever one you want.
Oh, I love this topic. Go ahead.
All right. Yes. I love her. I always love that point thing she does.
Oh, God.
She's so cool. She's just so, I just love following her. Anyway, awesome. WNBA Sophie Cunningham's Adidas shoes just rapidly sold out after she went viral for saying no men and women's sports, then clapping back at the left. I said what I said. Not only talented, but impossible to cancel her. The Democrats are livid.
You know what's weird is that it's 2026, and I wondered at any time in 2023 or so, we would find it to be controversial that somebody says no men and women's sports. It's beyond the pale. I can't even understand who has a problem with this. It makes absolutely no sense. None, especially if you ever had a daughter or a grandchild. I'm like, no, I do not want boys playing against my grandkids. No, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I always love when Trump does his little things with the trying to lift the weights, it does that.
and the other part about it is the WNBA. Now, they should have just named it something else because it has become, I think I can say this safely.
Clown show?
Well, the black, like it's
Oh,
not
I
a
know.
bad word, not a
Oh,
bad word. The Black Lesbian Sports League, and the fact that they
yeah.
have a white woman who's the best athlete in the entire league, and then another tall, blonde, leggy white woman who's basically her enforcer. They don't know how to react. They don't understand. There's a phenomenon happening right now, which I don't think it's racial. I just think it's people who have had enough. You know,
It's
they
called
understand.
fatigue.
Yeah, they understand what Caitlin Clark is going through. They see
Mm-hmm.
Sophie, and then country music. I don't know if you've been following this phenomenon at all. Have you been following it? All right,
No,
so
no. I mean, I listen to
maybe
it from time to
maybe
time.
I'll
Yeah.
save it tomorrow and talk about it.
Okay.
But there's an interesting parallel that people have uncovered. So that ever since that USAID money has been cut off, the rap culture has disintegrated, has completely deflated. So the prophecy, or not prophecy, but people are beginning to think at this point that rap was created as by the deep state to hurt the black community with all the gangster stuff and the hoes and everything else. And now you're seeing women like Ella Langley, who's just, have you seen her song?
No.
Oh, okay, look up. I bet you people in the chat will know who Ella Langley is, and she's taking the music industry by storm. And she's just singing old country style songs. You know, I lost my boyfriend, my dog died, but
Yeah, everything you get back or you lose it, you
yeah,
get
but
back.
she's a young, beautiful woman. It happens to be white. And they can't touch her. They can't touch it, and it's driving them effing. They're actually finding it to be insulting that she's doing so well. I'll talk about that tomorrow.
Well,
I'll
I have
make
one
this-
last. I have one last thing to add to this too. So you know the N word, the dreaded N word. So like you know the blacks use it a lot when they call their friends that or whatever. And I don't know if you heard that Shiloh Kendrick. She got.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I was wondering if you're going to catch that story. So I mean.
The Godfather, like that fit perfectly with that. Yeah, I mean, I figured out a way to come up with that tomorrow and be very careful that the people upstairs don't get pissed off, because that is outrageous. I mean,
that's free speech. I mean, that's really, they're treading onto a very dangerous ledge there. You know,
I don't think
you'll cover that tomorrow.
I'll cover it tomorrow. I don't think it's a free speech issue as much as it's a tired of your fifis and everything being offensive issue. You know, I've been called the word many, many times. I haven't wanted anybody to go to jail, and I just had to worry about me not going to jail after I whooped somebody's, you know what, after saying it. So,
You're going to take out that troll. I wanted you to get his address, man. That was
All
funny.
right. So what's
All right,
this one?
Next one. All right. So, yes, Petey's back in the news cycle. So he just endorsed packing the Supreme Court.
Oh, I bet you he does want to pack it.
Wait.
I bet you he's all about packing. But never mind. I digress. But let's continue. I'm sorry for the interruption and the visual there, but yeah.
It's all right. We all know it. I mean, you know, never mind.
And the next line is even worse. It's
Yes.
a nakedly partisan.
We'd be better off if it has just 13 justices. Dems are preparing to nuke the filibuster. This is why Leader Thune needs to heed President Trump's advice immediately. Oh, God, that guy's useless. And secure our elections so it can happen. Add on making D.C. and Puerto Rico a state to their list, gaining +4 senators. It will be bad unless Republicans stop it. So I thought this was newsworthy. Mr. Petey.
Did you hear what? I don't know if you watch Glenn Beck at all. I watch all these shows because I have to, and he had me rolling this morning. His show comes out at 9:00, and he had a play on words, and I had to listen to it the second time. He goes, he'd like to. I don't know how he said it, but he wanted to nominate John Thune for the Nobel Peace Prize.
The Nobel.
I'm like, oh my
I've never
God.
heard that one before. That's a good one.
that was a good one. The Nobel Peace Prize. Oh wait, that's catchy. That's a viral moment right there. All right. So
All right,
this
the next one, do you have something you could drink for a while? Because this one is going to take a couple of minutes to read. But from
Well,
my
I mean,
favorite,
that's a long one. You ain't got. Oh, that's really long.
yeah,
You're
but
gonna have to.
it's
You're
got a
gonna have
lot.
to get.
It's got a lot in it, though.
Give us
It's
the
got a lot in it.
Reader's Digest version. Okay, go
I
ahead.
mean, I could skip some of it. All right. So anyway, this Ellie Bradley brings up a lot of stuff going on with the southern hemisphere, and this came out just about an hour or so ago. It says 11 individuals have been charged in connection with the Laredo train death case back in May. The indictment includes 4 U.S. citizens, 5 illegal immigrants, and 2 lawful permanent residents. 2 defendants are still at large. Prosecutors charge them with conspiracy to transport illegal aliens resulting in death and aiding and abetting transport of illegal aliens resulting in death. The indictment alleges that all 11 defendants participated in a multi-year human smuggling operation that operated from at least April 2023 through May of 2026. They utilized a train system to smuggle illegal immigrants after they crossed in from Mexico. The indictment says that each illegal immigrant paid between $1,500 and $10,000 to individuals in Honduras, Mexico, the United States, and elsewhere to be transported illegally into the interior of the United States. The indictment also includes a criminal forfeiture allegation, meaning the government is seeking to permanently seize property it says was used to facilitate the smuggling operation or was derived from its proceeds after the defendants are convicted. So it goes on, the federal prosecutors say the smuggling organization worked alongside multiple trafficking groups, sharing routes, guides, stash houses, and drivers to transport illegal immigrants from Mexico and Honduras into the U.S. After crossing near Del Rio, Texas, migrants were allegedly hidden in stash houses, that's crazy, or concealed in brush along the Rio Grande before being loaded into shipping containers on freight trains, allowing them to travel deeper into the interior of the country. That's another thing, Barry. The trains don't have all the eyeballs on for the government, and that's I can see it. I'm using that, right? Anyway, one of the individuals in the indictment, Canary, is from Del Rio and was initially busted for harboring illegal immigrants. Myra Horta was then identified as a person of interest connected to the train deaths. And sources say she was taking money from the illegal immigrants and paying the 2 main facilitators. When her house was raided, investigators found more than $53,000 in cash and several firearms.
Wow.
The investigation began after 6 illegal immigrants were found dead inside the Union Pacific shipping container at Laredo Rail Yard in May. So investigators then linked the Laredo deaths to a second scene near San Antonio, where another man believed to have been part of the same smuggling venture was also found dead alongside railroad tracks after falling from the train.
Wait a second. Are they saying what these people died of? Is it just heat exhaustion, or how did they die?
Not sure. Probably that. I mean, I'll Google that. I mean, I think I have to zoom in on some of the documents. It probably tells a little more detail. Anyway, authorities identified the victims as migrants from Honduras and Mexico, including unfortunately a 14-year-old boy. The medical examiner determined at least one victim, here we go, died from heat stroke, and that was likely to cause a death for the others as they were trapped inside the shipping container. Wow. So yeah, I mean, when I think about this is a lot of work. It's not, So again, for folks that are saying nothing's getting done, nothing's happening, I mean, this is not something you do. You don't do this in one day.
A lot is
this
happening.
Takes a lot of time, and Patel's in on it, and a lot of others. It's part of the Don Rowe doctrine.
And they're not talking about it. I mean, I don't know what Allie Brady's who she works with or is herself, but you're not seeing this stuff on the regular media. So it looks like Scott Bessent made some news again. What's he doing?
Yeah, I like this. So this came out a little while ago. He said every dollar stolen from federal student aid is a dollar taken from taxpayers and deserving students. The Trump administration will not tolerate criminals who exploit.
Oh, wait a minute. This is a different one. This is the Iranians. Is there another one in here?
No. You're right. I actually I had 2 queued up, so I got it now. Sorry about that. All right, so let me take 2. The Iranian regime continues to pay a steep economic price for its reckless behavior, with the rial, that's the Iran money, plunging to another record low and inflation up massively. Under President Trump's leadership, Treasury will continue cutting off economic access for corrupt Iranian regime elites, along with their financiers and facilitators. So yeah, so Besant's constantly going after him. They're going after all their also the crypto stuff. That was last week. They're cutting off the siphon. So their inflation is record high. They're running out of the food. The only thing they're not running out of is the ballistic missiles and all those drones. That's just so weird.
Well, if they're running out of money, they're probably going to run out of the other stuff real soon, and it can't be getting them for free unless they park them someplace. So
that's why they smuggle the oil. The oil is what they're paying their the people to get stuff. But again, we are tightening the noose, and it's harder and harder for them to do things. So it's good to see that Besant, he's again doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean he's going after the money. That's where it hurts the most. Just keep cranking it down. All righty.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Have you seen this Elon interview?
I saw a couple of clips, and I like the one where he slapped her down about I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
all right.
I'm just gonna say 0.0. That was it. Remember that one?
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. Let me do this, and we'll get right into it.
See you soon.
Yeah. Have you ever looked at one of today's biggest investment stories and thought, yeah, I wish I'd gotten in on that sooner? Maybe it was AI. Maybe it was SpaceX. You're going to hear about that coming up. It seems like by the time the rest of us hear about an opportunity, the biggest gains have already happened. But what if the next opportunity isn't in the headlines? It's what's making the headline possible. I'm talking about silver and gold. Silver is a critical material behind the AI revolution. I'm about to play you a story, and just listen to what Elon Musk is saying. It's used in the technology that powers data centers, advanced electronics, robotics, and the infrastructure AI depends on. And if AI keeps growing in the way most of us expect it to, the demand for silver could grow right along with it. But here's the thing. You don't want to be learning about this after everyone else catches on. Remember, silver's price prediction is still $150 an ounce. So go up to $150 an ounce. That's why I want you to get a copy of a free report that they have right now. Lear Capital is a free report called The AI Revolution. Doesn't cost you a dime. It explains why so many investors are taking a very close look at silver and what could be driving demand in the years ahead. So call Lear Capital now at 800-601-5430 to get your free copy. It's free. And while you're on the phone, ask how you could qualify for up to $20,000 in bonus silver. I personally, with Robin, have owned silver for a couple of years because we believe in having tangible assets, actually stuff that, I can show you, not just a piece of paper. Tangible assets as part of a diversified strategy. Whether you decide it's right for you is your decision, but at least get the facts before everyone else is talking about it. Call 800-601-5430. Again, that's 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com, which just by saying this and talking about this at this point is such a great lead into what you're about to hear. So let's begin.
No doubt that there's a lot of waste in the U.S. government. I think probably
much worse than anyone could possibly imagine.
But the way, I think it is a fair criticism that the way you shut down a whole bunch of programs probably, in fact, certainly caused unnecessary suffering.
No.
No?
No.
You don't buy that at all?
It caused a lot of complaining.
You don't buy the idea that anybody, to put it really crudely and simply, any kid in Africa died because of the suddenness with which...
Zero.
Zero. That's what SB was talking about. Right in your face, wench. You don't think people in Africa died because... No, they didn't die because America stopped paying their weight. America wasn't supposed to be paying for that. Why is it on us, the American taxpayer? We're the ones, he just found out. Hey, Donald, you might want to take a look at this. Call Scott. Look at what's going on here. So the crime isn't that we were funneling gazillions of dollars to these crazy countries. The crime is that Elon found it. That's what she's saying. If you had kept your mouth shut, then these kids would still be getting, oatmeal and stuff. You killed them. Nope, not single one.
I just don't think that's right. I just don't think. I've had people reporting in Africa who.
How many NGOs are there that could step in? Because bear in mind, it happened quickly. And there are literally tens of thousands of NGOs.
Not everyone functions as fast as you do. If
Not everyone functions as fast as you do. That's your excuse? You see, the Democrats and the libtards don't have an excuse. For them, the spigot should have never been turned off. Americans should have been forced to continue paying out the yin-yang, paying your fair share, keep paying more and more and more, so that little kids in Africa can get oatmeal, or the kids in Haiti can get rice. That's our responsibility. No, it's not.
Funding is cut off for antiretrovirals overnight, and it just stops. Then people will die when they don't have access to them, and it just
only if they cannot get funding for that. But the Gates Foundation has $50 billion. What about them? What about any one of a number of organizations? What about
well, in lots of these countries, USAID...
Mackenzie, whatever her last name is, used to be Bezos, gave $50 billion. What about that?
But, let's be practical. In many of these countries, USAID was the biggest funder. But I don't want to have an argument.
USAID was a political organization.
It may also have been that, but it was the biggest funder of healthcare systems. So I'm very sure that there was
funder of regime change.
And there may well be benefits from having changed
Also,
the system.
USAID funding was not stopped. It was moved to the State Department.
It was stopped. There were huge numbers of things shut down in Africa that were
there
health
were claims
related.
of this.
Boy, she brought a knife to a gunfight, and he's opening up a bazooka on her. She was not prepared to talk to Elon at all. You're talking to the guy who actually found the fraud. Not somebody in government, somebody who knows how to look at numbers, and obviously with Scott Bessent was able to trace numbers, and you're coming here with feelings. Your feelings are hurt. And he's confronting her with data.
Claims are false. They're nonsense. And absolute nonsense. But obviously, just for when funding is stopped for fraudulent organizations or for something, do you think they're going to say, well, please keep funding the fraud? Or do you think they're going to come up with a sad story that sounds sympathetic in order to get the funding restored? Obviously, it will be the latter, and that's exactly what they did. But zero died because of
that's
Doge.
My feelings are hurt. My feelings that little African kids are dying because of you. And he's like, no, you're not putting it on me. You're not putting it on any taxpayer. It's not our fault. They ain't my kids. You got a flag over there, whatever country you're in. You're supposed to be a sovereign nation. What you're telling the world, and I've said this many times, is you're not a sovereign nation. If you can't take care of yourself, you're not a country. We should just go ahead and annex it.
That's what I would take issue with. I think I actually have a lot of sympathy for the change of the aid regime that the U.S. under the Trump administration has precipitated. However, I think the pace and the suddenness with which it happened will almost certainly have caused unnecessary suffering and deaths. And I think both of those can be true.
No, I think that's totally false.
Okay. Well,
and obviously false because there are the amount of funding we're talking about is far less than what can be done, than what can be supported via private via foundations like the Gates Foundation or Mackenzie Bezos' foundation. She's given away tens of billions of dollars. The Gates Foundation has tens of billions of dollars. They are capable of acting very quickly. And if they didn't, I would say they're equally responsible.
I see. Okay.
Obviously.
She just wasn't prepared whatsoever. Like I said, this interview is actually, I think, 110 minutes, 90 minutes. I urge you to find it. I'll post it so you can see the whole thing if you want. But let's continue. I got a whole bunch more to show you.
What the normal people?
Okay.
What do you call the far right? Falsely.
You think as the normal person? Okay.
Yes. Literally, you could go back 10 or 15 years, and these policies were completely normal. In fact, one of the tricks that I think is funny. One thing that's quite funny is to like take a speech from Obama and Hillary, and then go to someone and say, who's sort of on the sort of what I call the lunatic left, and say, what do you think of the speech by Trump? I'm like, oh wow, he's the worst person ever. Actually, that was a speech by Obama, or actually, that was a speech by Hillary.
I agree.
She can't answer. That's exactly what we were saying about the Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham story. We didn't talk this way. No, boys don't play girl sports. It was a given. What the hell happened? You can't become a woman just because you lop off your junk and decide you want to wear a wig. It doesn't work. This is stuff that they've thrust upon us. And it's obviously malaffected some people because their feelings. They're feeling if he wants to be a little girl. No, you can't do it. And so the normality of what used to be has been replaced, as Elon said, by the lunatic fringe.
No, I agree that the center of gravity in this country has shifted, certainly in the Democratic Party, shifted to the left. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like Rupert Lowe. I'm
Fringe
talking
right,
about
please.
people
It's actually just normal people. It's just normal people. It's just normal people. And and here are the principles. And tell me which of these sound terrible. That we should have secure borders. That we should have safe cities. That we should have sensible spending. Which of those three are far right fringe? And I would like to just.
There were so many times during this interview. Yes, I will post the whole thing. There's so many times in this interview where this professional interviewer who works for The Economist could only go. She couldn't even respond. Which one of these things sounds crazy? You want to say that we are far right because we want secure borders. We don't want to have people just coming in and having to pay for them. We don't want to we want to have safe cities. Well, how is that extreme? It is now because that's what they've labeled it as, and she can't even define it.
Admonish you and the media for the absurd characterization of the far right. It is false and misleading and nonsense. Please keep this part in.
We'll keep all of it.
I'm sorry. I don't know what she thought or who she thought she was going to interview, but you're talking to the richest man in the world, and did you think he'd back down on anything? This is the same guy who went on CNBC at a New York Times event and said, "Go F yourself." And he said the actual words. Looked at the camera. Did you hear me? Go F yourself. And so if you're sitting down with a guy who's got FU money and there's nothing, literally nothing you can do to him, you better come prepared with truth.
Do you think there should be distribution of shares? Like, the Alaska Wealth Fund is there for, could you imagine a world, and some people talk about the Trump accounts being a kind of vehicle for this, that a share of your equity goes to ordinary Americans?
He handles this better than I would have. I would have handled it. It would have been a short conversation. It's my money. I will decide where it goes. No, you guys aren't going to redistribute my money. No, I will tell where it goes. I have charities. What a outrageous question to ask somebody.
Right. Well, in the taxes that I pay, I mean, I'll so for my stock options, I pay 40% income tax on a national basis, and then because I spend, I don't know, about 30% of my time in California, thereabouts, I pay another sort of roughly a third of the California state taxes, which are now around 15%. So I pay about 45% in taxes, just so people know this. I don't know if it's so roughly half. Mm-hmm. Then when I die, there'll be another sort of 45%, roughly half that will be taxed. So at the end of the day, I'll have a quarter of whatever I have. But I think the only thing it gives me is that for some period of time, I would have control of the direction of the companies. So it's not, that's pretty much all it gets me. And until I guess the AI is so smart that it's in charge. And at that point, controlling companies won't really matter.
So he pays literally half of his income out in taxes. What would you consider to be the fair share? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. What would you consider for him to have as a fair share? Oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. 50%, and then when he dies, you're going to take another 25 or 30%. Now it doesn't seem like he's not paying his fair share. Actually, it seems he's paying very much a fair share. And she doesn't seem to think it's enough, that she wants him to give money in his company and spread it out amongst Americans. That's a Bernie thought there.
The point is not that the question is not is America perfect? The question is does Europe have a serious and growing problem?
The question
Absolutely,
is which is more dangerous. Problem. That's where we started this.
Europe has a serious and growing problem. I'm not going to say that the United States has no problems. Of course it does. But we should all try to address these issues.
We can agree on that. We should all try to address the problems. My point was simply that I think you exaggerate the scale of Europe's problem, and that
I think people are asleep at the switch and do not realize the magnitude of the issue.
I also think that your interventions, however well-intentioned they may be, risk making Europe's problem a lot worse.
How?
Exactly how? What exactly are you talking about? They're plucking women off the street and doing bad things to them. That's the best I can say here on YouTube. They're beating up people simply because they're not succumbing to them. They've taken over the streets at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and doing their musical prayer thing. What? How are you exaggerating? How's he making it worse? Please tell me. His question was how? How am I making it worse?
Because you are putting your support behind people who are proto-authoritarians, who are not trying simply to, make sure there is better integration of Muslims or to secure the borders, but who have...
Why do we... Gonna get myself in trouble. Why do people have to have better integration of this? Why can't they have a sovereign country? I dare this woman to walk down some of those streets by herself with her blonde hair showing. I dare you. But you're sitting here from some position in some office talking about why shouldn't we have more integration? Well, the people in England are sitting there going, I don't want it. You're forcing it.
Very clear fascist tendencies, and you will cause huge divisions within Europe.
I think what you're saying is total fiction, and really, I'm simply saying that that Europe has to have secure borders.
Okay, on that we agree.
And should not let in vast numbers of people with views that are antithetical to the accepted views in Europe, and where there will not be some level of safe cultural integration. This is simply common sense.
If all you are saying is Europe should have secure borders, I completely agree with you. Then I have misunderstood what your interventions have been on social media, because that is not what the view I have, not what I would conclude having seen what the people you are supporting and the things you're doing. But if that's your goal, I share your goal that Europe should have secure borders.
Yes.
I think that's perfectly agreeable. That gets me to a question.
And let me explain what the fundamental forcing function here is for why the borders are not secure, which is when you have a welfare state that provides substantial benefits to anyone who comes there, you create a very powerful economic forcing function for anyone who is below that standard of living to come to Europe. It is an obvious, powerful driving force. And people will come there if their standard of living is, from what they get in Europe, is above where they are elsewhere in the world. It's very basic.
When he breaks it down like that, how can anybody, excuse me, how can you possibly disagree? You got people coming from a lower economic position. It appeals to them because they're going to get free stuff from people who have it. It's not even something that's going to become equitable because they're not looking for the hand up. They aren't going to try and get on their own 2 feet. They are going to stay as birds in the nest. You're going to have to keep feeding these people over and over and over. And the worst part about it, even here in America, is at least say thank you. At least show grace. Let us know that you appreciate what we've done by giving you food stamps and bus passes and free rent. At least just say thank you and not be complete banes of our existence. But that's not what they do. Their whole idea is to conquer you, to make you submissive to them. I don't understand why what has happened with so many white liberal people. They're completely insane. I think all of us have a giving heart, but it's not, you don't want to be taken advantage of, and you don't want people that you're giving to just think it's a lifeline forever. Get a job, show your productivity, do something. Say thank you.
Well, you can really think of the economy as digital and physical intelligence. So what we have right now advancing very rapidly is digital intelligence, obviously, with AI that is, it seems, almost with every passing week, there are more AI breakthroughs. It can do something amazing that it couldn't do before. But it's still somewhat confined to the digital realm. It doesn't have end effectors. You need the end effectors in the form of humanoid robotics. You need basically lots of bots, in a nutshell. You need lots of bots. And then you can go from intelligence manifesting itself only digitally to shaping atoms. And you say, what is an economy? An economy is the production of goods and provision of services. And if you have vast numbers of robots with vast amounts of digital intelligence, you have a sort of a quasi-infinite economy. So this is really the future is going to be very, very different from the past. There's no analogy or metaphor that I think illustrates the magnitude of.
As we're watching him do this, as we're watching him come up with these thoughts, and he's trying to even comprehend at that moment, he's trying to think, this thing is so large, it is so big, it is so all-encompassing with the robotics and the AI and everything that goes along with it. We're entering a new frontier, and this frontier that he's foreseeing, that he has an idea where it's going. We don't know yet. It's going. We do know that you're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. Now we just have to have a guide. We need to have the people, the monitors, people who understand how they're going to shepherd this. The Sherpa. I almost look at Elon and some of these guys as Sherpas, digital Sherpas, who are watching this thing begin to grow and say, this is going to grow so fast that most humans aren't going to be able to understand what's happening. And if they're not growing along with it, you can't be a Sherpa yourself, which is one of the reasons why I keep urging people to start using AI, why President Trump keeps saying we have to win this race, because the horse is already out the stable. The gates went wide open. And now we're just trying to keep pace with this thing that just keeps running faster and faster and faster.
I do think it's going to be a bumpy road because AI will be able to do any job better than any person can do that job.
Bumpy? How about terrifying? We don't know what he has seen. We don't know what he's worked on. We don't know how far down the road he is seeing certain things happen. He's in the laboratory. We're just playing with Grok and trying to make movies and pictures and writing papers and stuff. He's already way down the road with this AI stuff. And he's like, it's going to be a bumpy road. For who? All of us? Hey, that's a little bit frightening. I understand why some people want to get into a cocoon, but I think it's too late. I think it's too late to get into a cocoon and say, I don't want to deal with AI. Just listen to this.
And that will be true very quickly of jobs that are digital, or really anything that involves a person at a computer or on a phone. AI could do all of that. We'll be able to do all of that very soon. I mean, for software engineering, we already have a situation where AI is better than at least 90% of humans.
Ooh. Maybe now might be the time to tell your sons and grandsons you might want to get into, I don't know, plumbing, electrician, stuff like that. As he said, if you work at a desk, if it involves you typing something or any kind of analyzing or anything like that, you're in trouble. And just to go off on a little side thing, I think this is why we're seeing so much with the socialists. These socialists have gone to colleges, they've paid lots of money to get these degrees that are worthless by the time they graduate. They're coming out having paid possibly $100,000 for a degree. Maybe more, maybe twice that amount. And they're finding out the promise that was made to them doesn't exist. You spent 4 years and $100,000, maybe $200,000 coming out to be, I don't know, a psychologist or a data analyst or something. And now all of a sudden, you're no longer needed. The guy who you used to laugh at, who went to, HVAC training, is now kicking your butt. You're making coffee and he's making 150 grand a year. The guy who's got the butt crack as a plumber, he's making 200 grand a year and you're pouring coffee. Yesterday, the thing on our shower, the thing where you turn, they call, I think, the diverter, and you have to turn it so hot and cold comes on. It didn't work. We had to call a plumber. I already knew because my dad knew back in the day. I'm like, we don't have to, please call the handyman guy. See, and the handyman guy came over. He's like, I can't fix it. You got to call the plumber. And it's so funny because when we ever have to call the plumber or electrician, they answer the phone on the first ring. How you doing? We'll be right over. And you already know it's going to be a $400 or $500 bill. I told Robin, I said, it's going to cost us. And she's like, yeah, but you got to have the ability to turn on your shower. I broke it. And I'm like, I can take a shower at the office. I can go upstairs, take a shower. I was like, he's going to charge us $400. And I don't know what he's going to do, but he's got to do it. I couldn't help. AI couldn't fix it. I had to call the guy. Hey, Barry, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Yeah. Crank. Working with D's. He's telling the truth here.
At writing software. 90% of professional software engineers at writing software.
Ooh.
And it really is getting to the point where it'll be better than 99%, and then it'll get to the point where there's just no way to compete. It'll get to what I call stockfish level. So stockfish.
Okay,
So stockfish is the chess program that stockfish is so good at chess that it will easily beat Magnus Carlsen or anyone at chess even running on a small computer. I suspect that you could probably run Stockfish on your phone and beat Magnus Carlsen. That's how good it is at chess. And that's how good AI will be at writing software.
And beyond software? Beyond.
And that applies to everything.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I know some of you don't want to hear it. I trust what he says because he's got $1 trillion. He's been able to do it. And so right now, the light bulbs need to be going off on all over you. You need to begin understanding the blinking lights because OMG, you're done. And I respect him because he's so matter of fact about it. Sorry. So if you know this is where it's going, why the hell are you still doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing? It's inevitable. It cannot be stopped. So I don't know about you, but when I look at something that's futile, I don't do it. If I can't do it, why bother? Somebody's going to do it better. Somebody's going to do it quicker. Somebody's going to do it cheaper. I don't need to pay somebody to edit a video. I could just call Claude or Chat GTP and say, cut this and cut that. Here you go. Scary.
The Chinese AI companies are doing as well as they are with a relatively small amount of compute. It seems though that if they had a lot of compute, there's a good chance that they would be the leaders. And at some point, they probably will have a lot of compute.
So they will be the leaders.
There's a good chance that they are the leaders at some point. You can think of like the constraints on AI are essentially electricity and AI chips. And then for physical AI, the robots. China's also got some very good robot companies. In fact, they have these like robot sporting events. I don't know if you've seen some of them.
Yes, I have. I saw the last time I was in Beijing. I saw the robots.
Well, and then they have this sort of like a boxing match or fighting match with the robots, which is quite entertaining. And
Have you guys seen that? If you haven't seen that, go ahead and Google that on YouTube or maybe on X and look at robot MMA. It's crazy. I'm like, I need to get one of those, and we just sit it at the front door and like program it. Anybody who comes in, they're not supposed to be here. Go ahead and whoop up on them. I was amazed watching the thing do spin kicks, and it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Maybe you might want to download the movie I, Robot with Will Smith because, whoa, man, this is advancing very quickly. By the way, another side note here. As you're listening to this brilliance of this man just exuding it, how many of you think that he needed to be there in the White House or someplace with Doge? Or have they already put all the AI into whatever they needed to track, including voting systems? Imagine what he just said. They're at a point now where software engineers are about to become obsolete. So if he's saying it now, he was also involved in writing code. Can you imagine if they said, I don't even know what kind of code. I'm not a code designer, but like, hey, go find every check ever written over $1,000 to somebody who's dead. I mean, just let that sink in. Check every voting roll that you can get into, that you can spider into, that you can backdoor into. Tell me every person in every county, every city who's voting and they're dead or they're not an American. When you sit back and hear the brilliance that he's spewing right now, he's spitting just big nuggets. Well, at some point you have to think, what if they unleash that already? What if there's already spiders and agents, agentic AI? What if all this stuff has already been put in place and they're just watching what it grabs? When you look at what Scott Besson is doing and how he's grabbing money, and that would take so much manpower to go ahead and search. Imagine an AI program that you just sink in and just go. There was an AI think tank match just the other day. It came out. They put these two AI programs into some sort of computer and kind of like put a firewall so the two programs couldn't go out. They had to basically fight to the death, and somehow they found a way out and then began doing things. Go look that up. It's crazy.
Saw some video of a robot that got its head knocked off, kept fighting, even with its head knocked off. It looked pretty funny, but I mean, in fact, I think the robot battles are going to be quite entertaining to watch.
But just
so China's very strong on robots, very strong on digital AI, and if you look at electricity production, you can say like AI is a function of whatever the limiting factor is, if it's chips or electricity. China has far more electricity than the United States. In fact, China has more electricity than the United States, Europe, and India combined already, and is heading to, and my guess is China gets to 4 times the electricity production of the US, which is roughly proportionate to the population.
What should the US government do about this? I mean, if you presumably it is a little alarming if you have an authoritarian regime far ahead in the most powerful technology.
And that's why you're seeing so much resistance to the data centers, because of the money China is spending to have influencers spew stuff while they just keep going and building and building. Elon is seeing that. Our country, because we're freer, people can go out there and say, oh, it's horrible, it's bad, we can't do it. Let's go to the community meeting and complain about it. No data centers. And China's like, laughing at us while they eat our lunch.
What the US government's been trying to do is, with the export controls and so forth, keep China back. Do you think they should ban the use of K3, Kimi K3, for example?
Well, the US government can't, they can pass some law that prevents US companies from using Chinese models, but they can't stop the rest of the world from using them. So it's not like the US government has authority over China or the rest of the world.
Do you think they should stop US companies from using them? There's talk of that right now, right?
I don't think that helps. That won't stop China from being the leader in AI. Really, it's for digital intelligence, it comes down to how much AI compute do you have, how many chips do you have, and how much power do you have, how much electricity do you have. So the constraint right now, I think, is actually slightly more on power and cooling than it is on AI chips, because the power demands of the AI chips are very, very high. We'll talk about water demands, but really the water usage of AI is negligible, or almost nothing.
The water is negligible, yet people are screaming all over social media, the water, it's all fake. It's coming right out of his mouth, and China, SP is laughing. It's all fake. They're putting people through a huge ruse.
But the electrical demand is very high.
That's why you're thinking of orbital data centers, presumably.
Yes, the constraint for any AI chips not being turned on in China is electricity, and like power and cooling, and the electrical equipment and everything. The rate at which AI chips are being made exceeds the rate at which new electricity is coming online.
In China.
You understand why I say it can't be stopped at this point? The rate that they're pushing out more and more chips, more and more advanced intelligence is faster than the amount of electricity that we have. Today, President Trump is standing in the Oval, well, he was sitting, and all these guys are doing everything about nuclear power. And the Democrats are running around talking about food and gas prices. They are so far behind. They're dragging the American public into the sewer with them. This is so outworldly where we're headed, and we got people in our government who are talking about, we need to take his money and your money. I just hope you come from this interview, you can watch the rest of it, I'll post it, and realize we got to get going. We got work to do, all of us, me included. We have some serious work to do.
Outside of China.
Outside China, I see, yeah.
And since China, the U.S. has banned the export of the latest AI chips to China, China is somewhat chip-starved.
But they are becoming much more efficient at using the chips that they have. And that one of the striking things of Kimi K3, right, is how efficiently they...
And China is also, I think, closer than most people realize to solving the lithography problem, which would enable them to make AI chips at very large volumes. So I think there's, this shouldn't evolve into just a China conversation, but the current constraint is electricity outside of China. In China, the constraint is chips. Once we address the power constraint with AI data centers in space, then the constraint will once again be chips outside of China.
That suggests
space. See, that's the other thing is people are worried about the data centers here, and Elon's already a couple steps beyond that, talking about putting stuff up in the air, and that's going to be where the data center is. They'll tie Starlink into it. Things are advancing so fast, and again, I'm going to go back to it. If what you're hearing sounds like Star Wars or the Jetsons, then you have to start thinking to yourself, Trump really has all this data already, doesn't he? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe the humans did something where they were able to put up firewalls where the AI couldn't go through and grab the information. Anybody believe that? Because prior to this, it's all been human engineers. He just said 99% of engineers, human, are done very soon, i.e. that must mean they've already come up with the ability to get into computers anywhere. That would tell you at this point, there are people like Elon, maybe Jensen Huang, who are working with President Trump, and also our competitors who are working against America, who know how to dig into these different computer systems anywhere in the country. I have to believe that because I can hear what he's saying. I can hear what he's relating to as you're hearing it right now. This is so advanced. And you're telling me Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey, she only found 6,000 bad registrations, but there might be 35. No, you really want us to tell you, Mikey? We already know. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm waiting for President Trump to come out and say, all right, here's what we're going to do. And here's why. I got to show you. You guys have to see this, all of this, so you understand why we need to do what we need to do. There's a reason why we need the Save America Act. Or do we? See, I'm wondering, watching how Thune is doing what he's doing, is the Save America Act a diversion? Let the Democrats fight about this. As long as they're fighting about the Save America Act, and even in some of the Republicans are fighting about it, are we doing something with data that we don't really need it? We already know. So that when you go and try to vote and you're not supposed to, maybe that's why you have the ICE agents at the polling locations. A red light's going to go off. It's like peeing in a pool when there's a dye that can capture urine. Oh, you're not supposed to be voting. Maybe I'm putting too much credence in it, but this guy's brilliant.
10 years is not very... yeah, I get that, but that could be a long way ahead.
Very long way.
And you're basically saying,
very long way.
If it's 10 to 20% in 10 years, would you go into one of your rockets if you thought there was a 10 to 20% chance of it blowing up and killing you?
Yes, but let's say you can't do anything about it.
Okay.
Jane, you ignorant slut. He's like, but you can't do anything about it. You got to get in a rocket. That's what told me something's happening. I mean, she had a very good question. You know, would you, if you had a failure rate of 10 to 20%, would you even get in your rocket knowing that you had a 20% chance of blowing up? And his answer was, it's too late. I'm already in the rocket. Meaning it's basically unharnessed at this point. Mm-hmm.
I guess the only thing we can try to do is minimize the probability of the bad outcome. But trying to stop the intelligence in robots, I mean, for the longest time, I declined to participate in AI, or was, created OpenAI as essentially a counterweight to Google, because at the time they had more or less a monopoly on AI. In creating OpenAI and then having Anthropic spin out of that, and now currently Anthropic's the leader in AI. I mean, these actions have actually resulted in knock-on effects that accelerated AI, which wasn't really my intention. So it just seems like all roads lead to acceleration of AI. So then I'm like, okay, well, you can just sort of be sad about it or join the club, I suppose.
What you've said.
The richest man in the world, one of the most brilliant people, he can park rockets from coming down out of space, said, I wasn't into AI, but I had to. So if he can make that admission in public, I had to do it, then where are you? How are you going to resist it when Elon Musk said, I wasn't gonna do it, but I had to get in, and I had to get in with both feet, because that's acceleration is so, I can't catch up if I don't get in.
You joined the club.
Yeah.
You definitely joined the club.
If you can't beat him, join him, I think AI may exceed the sum of human intelligence in around 5 years.
In 5 years?
Roughly 5 years is my guess. So there really won't be anything that AI can't do better than humans, apart from being human, perhaps.
At a more prosaic level, what will life be like?
You guys really want to hear this? So what will life really be like in 5 years?
The most likely outcome is an age of amazing abundance, where anyone can have anything they can think of.
My work here is done. That's all I needed to hear. Where are we in 5 years? An age of abundance. Trump calls it the golden age, where anybody can have anything they want. That's kind of stunning. If you've been here for the 3 hours and you saw what President Trump did in the Oval Office, and now you're seeing this, and you're seeing the world's problems and everything else, and now you realize he is building, or all of them are building, a vehicle where you will have abundance, where you can have anything you want, which is beyond the capacity for most humans today to even comprehend. What do you mean? How the heck are we going to go from needing UBI to having complete abundance?
This may sound preposterous, but, well, here we are in 2026. Let's see where we stand in 2036. Now, of course, there are things that could derail this, like a massive global thermonuclear war or something like that. But assuming that there's not World War III, I think we're headed for an age of amazing abundance. So this is, I guess, a message of optimism and excitement about the future.
I'm so ready. I hope you're ready. Like I said, this interview is like 90 minutes. My clip here was 20. So it's literally 5 times the amount I've clipped here, with him just dropping nugget after nugget. And you start listening to it, you're going to want to grab a piece of paper. You're like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The motivation I have after seeing this interview, the motivation I hope you feel after seeing this interview, will get you to understand, don't be afraid. Learn it. get involved in it. And if your fear keeps you from getting involved in it, then that's why you're going to realize the fear you have. Age of abundance? My gosh.
I don't think there's any racism there.
Are you anti-Muslim?
I'm against having if people are coming to a country with antithetical views. I am against that. I'm against that. You know, I'm against I'm against rape and murder. I'm against the imposition of rules and laws that are contrary to what we've come to accept in the West. And I think it's a crying shame that the sort of traditional media, like you, don't recognize this.
Why should you be able to shape European politics?
It's a shame that the media doesn't recognize it. Though they recognize it, they most assuredly recognize it. They're hoping you don't. And if you notice, whenever you see these Democrats on television, whether it be Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or even AOC, you realize you're looking at dinosaurs. They have nothing. They never speak of anything that talks about the advancement of society. They're supposed to be progressives. They are actually regressives. They are dinosaurs. Go ahead, you do your own homework. Look up anything that they have talked about into the future, what we could be doing as a people. Doesn't exist. Ask any of the socialists, regressive. We need to take from you and give it to somebody else. There is nothing that they're talking about. Not a single one, not Hakeem, not Schumer, none of them, Bernie, none of them are saying the future looks so bright. Here's where abundance is going to be. That's why that party is finished. The party is a party of relics, of mothballs, of stinky, moldy clothes. I encourage everybody on our side to understand what's available out there to you, what you can begin looking at. And then once you begin looking, a lot of people, they bitch at me because I keep talking about prosperity. That's because I listen to these guys. I'm like, this is so good. This is so enthusiastically fantastic and abundant. Why are we wasting time talking about crap that makes no sense? I trust Trump. I believe he's going to do what he says he's going to do. And I just want to be prepared to be ready to go on the other side. I'm seeing what Elon's doing. I'm watching what Jensen Wang is doing. I'm seeing what the people in Anthropic are doing. I'm watching all this stuff, and none of them seem to be concerned whatsoever about the Democrats. It's like all the people here are running around like ants, saying the same stuff over and over and over. I had a talk with Robin this morning. I was out on the deck. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, I can't. I feel like we have so much ahead of us. I feel like God is blessing us, and we're mired down in the same crap day after day after day. Like somebody somewhere, maybe it's evil, that's trying to hold us all back. And I'm like, I look around and I'm bored. I don't know if you guys ever wake up and think to yourself, it's the same old crap. I'm bored. This doesn't, the Democrats don't say anything worthwhile. Most of the Republicans sit up there and give speeches. Have you heard stuff enough to say my life is going to be a lot better in the future? That's why Barry talks about prosperity. I'm like, man, I can't wait. I want to run. I want to get behind a thoroughbred horse. I just want to take off. And every day we're talking about crap. Absolute crap. And I hear stuff like this, and I hope it made you feel that way. You're like, you know what? Yeah, we're wasting a lot of time. Mike Lindell, he did. I don't care anymore. Mike, you did what you did. What's it going to do for your life? Nothing. He's in Minnesota. I'm in South Florida. I don't care. I want to run with this information. Feed me as much of this stuff as you possibly can. Show me how to do prompts. Show me how to build agents. Show me all this stuff, because I want to make sure that I am libtard proof, so that I know going forward, these idiots can do whatever they want, and we are libtard proof. I want you to be libtard proof. I can't make you do it. That video, like I said, I'm going to post it when we get off, SB, but wow.
I've been posting in the chat, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everybody's got it, or on review, they'll see it later. I sent you a screenshot from Alexis. Now, it's not Alexa, the AI person. It's a real person, but check out what they wrote about AI and the data centers and Elon.
Oh, you sent me, sent me by text here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me read this. It's, wait a minute. Something happened. It didn't get too big. Okay, hold on. We can't be blinding sheeps following a leader who has disappointed us with this war, and the economy is high. We really need to start praying that we do not lose the midterms and him being impeached. Elon Musk is looking up in space because the water and air will be so polluted from the data and water centers. Trump is bankrupting our country with this non-ending war. Now they need money.
I'm expecting the Kool-Aid guy to come running out of the wall. Kool-Aid!
Unfortunately, I don't know if she is on the right, but we can't help these people. At some point, we have to stop trying. I can't. Yeah,
brainwashed.
I can't help you.
Literally brainwashed and low IQ. Sorry. I mean,
And the thing with it is, I understand people being afraid. I understand the unknown it's extremely fearful, but at least educate yourself. Even with what she wrote there and posted on the chat, I'm like, you're not paying attention to anything. What do you mean bankrupting? No. And the thing about having to ask for more money, because that's the way our government's set up, moron. Oh boy.
Extreme tunnel vision. Well, I got a couple of stories before you go. The first story is about Trump.
I looked down at the picture. That cracked me up.
Yeah, right, you see a smile?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on. What do you got here?
So, breaking and a huge win, the Board of Immigration, I'm trying to say administration, Immigration Appeals just ruled that even legal migrants can be deported if they're caught illegally voting and are non-citizens. Send them all back. DHS General Counsel says even for aliens here illegally, illegal voting makes you deportable. We will continue to prioritize deportation proceedings against those who illegally vote in American elections.
So that goes back to what Hermeet Dilling was saying. That's why they don't want to give up the voting rolls, because they knew that this was coming out here, and now even if you're here legally, they can go ahead and kick you out. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So they're gonna, and then now with Ilhan, I think she's gonna divorce her sister too, because that's gonna happen. So she's married to her brother or sister. I don't know how many. Anyway. She's got a little smoke going on here.
Wait. Is this is AI? But is that supposed to be her? Is it her sister? Are they twins? Oh my God!
It's a grok image. It's a grok image. So you take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, her Omar's sister has just been implicated in the massive Feeding Our Future fraud scandal in Minnesota. All right, let's see if I can do these names right. Sahar Noor allegedly incorporated a $20 million USAID company with the same address as a Feeding Our Future fraudster. Sahar Noor's Grit Partners was incorporated at an address on Hyacinth Avenue belonging to Ister Afra. Afra worked directly with Sahar Noor, wow, this is a tongue tire, who ran the fake catering company that the various Feeding Our Future nonprofits used to give the feds fake receipts. Afra ran a different company alongside Hannah Markeegan, who pleaded guilty to stealing $7 million.
Was the name of her company really Sarah Noor's Grit?
Yeah, banana and rice. You know, you take it. You
Oh my God!
grit.
You know,
I mean, I like grits. I like grits in the
that was
South.
another thing I was talking to Robin about today. I mean, I think it's beginning to wash over people at this point. Is that there's so much fraud. It's a deluge, a waterfall at this point, and I think people are just like, more. Are you serious? Enough
But the
is
thing is,
enough.
how can you allow the Democrats back in power? I mean, if you do, you're not very bright. So anyway, and then the last thing I showed you, listen. I give you to forewarn. It's got music, so you have to play it without the music on. So be
Okay,
careful.
this is awesome,
But it's
absolutely
awesome. It is awesome.
All right, so talk about it. This is what Elon
All right.
was talking
Robot
about.
boxing. Right. So this is becoming a practical test bed for robotics, combining balance, vision, force control, and rapid decision making. Every punch, dodge, recovery helps researchers improve locomotion, manipulation, and AI, folks, policies that could be later be applied to manufacturing, logistics, and other real world tasks. It has the part where the head gets knocked off at the end and it's still fighting. Kind of like Libnuts. Look at that. Goes on for about a minute.
I gotta have one. Yeah.
Oh, look at the head. Look at the head.
Oh, he knocked his head. Oh, he's still fighting. Oh my goodness.
Remember Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Remember?
Oh my God.
Isn't that awesome? Look, he's giving him a little crap.
Oh my gosh.
He danced on his grave. Fantastic. I was telling the chat that I want one for cleaning my house and rubbing my feet. That's all I need.
It'll break your feet.
No, I'm going to put it on the soft mode. Oh, don't do that.
How's that feel?
Thanks, Barry. Now I don't want one.
Robin would have one. Go ahead and vacuum and do what you need to do. Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome.
Mine, I have to send it. Go run to the grocery store and pick me up some food, or go give me some pad thai.
Can you imagine them running down the street? Really, they run pretty quick without a head.
Right. Oh my goodness! Wow, it's crazy.
Anyway, that's all I have for the moment, but I'll have more for tomorrow and the next day.
Okay, you know what's funny? I got to show you guys this. After everything you just saw with that interview. This was from Gizmodo. Gizmodo put this up and said, Elon Musk melts down over perfectly normal questions in wild new interview. The propaganda, they are running wild. They're going crazy just to save their asses, I guess, at this point. All right, so let me go do super chats. Just let you guys know, tonight is the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner. The red carpet and everything starts at 6 o'clock. I'm not going to cover that. President Trump is due to speak. I believe they said about 8:45. So I'll probably go live at about 8:30 if you guys want to check out the White House Correspondents' Dinner tonight, the rescheduled dinner. All right, here we go with some super chats. Let me raise this up a little bit. All right. Clinton robbed Social Security lockbox to balance the budget, $6 trillion. Oh, that's how it happened. Cheershop says Sam Kinnison's famous skit, go where the food is. Exactly. And the condoms. Go where the condoms are. Maybe Deep State left the weapons in Afghanistan there on purpose to use them at a later date against the United States. Bingo. That's what I've been thinking. Starfleet. So New Jersey allows illegals to get driver's licenses. That looks what it looks like. Earnest reparation payments equal paying for votes. Bingo. That's of course what it is. And we have to, no, I ain't paying it. Bielka, very well said in your monologue. Hope they're listening. Thank you. Bielka, again, Tellerico is having problem with black voters in Texas. Yeah, the easiest way to fix that is to try and buy them off. Thank you, Go Live. And Bruce, and Go Live again. Hakeem Jeffries voting on behalf of Maxine Waters. There was a rumor that she's about to meet the Mitch McConnell era. I don't know if she's in a coma or she might be close to death herself, but you know, they just keep staying there. Bruce, Barry would really appreciate the chance to talk with you on real estate. I'm thinking about doing it. I got to figure it out how we could do something on Zoom and open it up. Fikowski, 1, 2, 3 times. Thank you, Fikowski. Sherry, thank you. TL, T. Liam, Hassan Piker doesn't believe the crappy pedals. It's all about the Benjamins. I think there's a lot of people out there like that. And Bielka, the governor's action is simply aiding and abetting. Yeah, and she said she knew it before she got there. That's very interesting. Chiosop, Ducey needs to be chased out by birds. Explosive diarrhea, seriously? Donnie, I had to show my driver's license to get cold medicine yesterday. Oh, exactly. They keep that stuff under lock and key now. Chiosop, Gates Fund only gave no money to the kids they touch. Mr. Mike, John Thune might be compromised. Could be. Mr. Pugs, United States is not the babysitter of the world, nor the funding entity of the world. But it used to be. Macon Blankenship, a degrees lifespan is like an app upgrade. In 30 days, you need to upgrade again. I think that's what some of these people are finding out and is freaking them out. Tania, so glad Elon is back. We need him on our side. I don't think he was ever gone. I think everything we've been seeing is a movie. And AI stuff. Yeah, I don't think he was gone. I think that was all part of the actual plan for things. All right, so look for me about 8:30 tonight, and hopefully everything goes well and no attempts on President Trump's life. I understand they've got some Rambo-type security ready tonight, so I think everything will go fine. Thank you, guys. See you guys tonight.
Thank you.